Oil Ironman GNCC. We're here 17 AMSOIL GNCC Racing Series presented by Maxxis, an AMA National Championship. We're out here, racers can stop Caleb Russell from capping off his fifth win. Now let's take it to Rodney Tomlin down on the start line.
Welcome and a big goodbye to your own Chris Bob. As we turn our attention down to that first turn region, rolling to the line first today in points, GNCC champion, and he is about possible wins record in GNCC racing on an FMM, Caleb Russell. Rolling to the line next today, he rides up second in points. And after about a 3-race absence, he makes it Caleb Russell's history-making ride here today with our Energy Factory Husqvarna. Bad Thad Duval. Rolling to the line third from Duval, Yamaha rider. He was your snowshoe. He's rowdy, Ricky Russell. Line today, fourth in points. He was your took your 914 KTM SRT KTM from BAYLOR. Next, he is fifth in points. He took the overall win at the 314, also from Belton, South Carolina, on a Rocky Mountain ATV MC KR4 Husqvarna. Grant. Number 5, he is sixth in points. He is your XC1 Pro on the JCR Honda, TREVOR. Rolling to the line machine. He hails from Jefferson, Georgia. A 5-time National Endurance Racing KTM, Russell BOBBITT. Up next, he is 8th at number 264. Fresh off his first win there a few races ago, and fresh off of a third where he took the win over Ryan Verone from Ekron, Kentucky on a Coastal Racing Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, Ryan Sipes. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 114. He hails from Australia on a Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Bell Ray-backed Husky, former GNCC champion, Josh Strang. And rolling to the line next, he rides aboard the number 4 from Cookeville, Tennessee Beta, Jordan Ashburn. The number 369 from Elko, Minnesota, on a Husqvarna-backed Husqvarna, Zach. Rolling 69. He hails from Southwick, Massachusetts, on Tree Connection back KTM, Jonathan Garon. To the line next, aboard the number 2C on a Dan's Power Honda FMF. See me there. GNCC, I should put it. And of course, as we sit and look out over this field, 2,398 riders have registered for racing here this weekend. 316 of those riders here on this starting line today. Nearly 2,400 participants at what we like to call the Festival of Off-Road Racing right here at the Ironman GNCC. And now, as all the ceremonies are over, it is time to focus on racing. And my friends, all attention now turns down toward that first turn region where Ricky Towery awaits to begin the conducting of this next big event here at Ironman, and that is this XC1, XC2, XC3, and all of our A's and B's here this afternoon. Over 300 riders ready to traverse this course. And again, Ricky Towery is making us all systems go checks to make sure that scoring is ready, the track crew is ready. All the necessary changes have been made on this nearly 13-mile race course that these riders will be racing on here today. Again, Ricky Towery now starting to make his way out into vision. And once we get a visual on Ricky, we know that it's getting time to go. The hearts are beginning to pound, and Ricky now makes his way out to let these riders know we have 1 minute to go before the start of this AMSOIL Ironman GNCCs. Ricky will now find his way back into this first turn. The next thing in queue that we see from Ricky Towery will be the all engines quiet sign, and that is the waving of that blue flag. That will also signal 30 seconds before the waving of the green flag. And now Ricky positions himself in that first turn, takes a deep breath, and lets these riders know to shut them down, shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. We are now less than 30 seconds away from going racing here today in Indiana. And as we get set to roll into these beautiful cornfields and these beautiful woods, I got to ask you, Indiana, are you ready to go GNCC racing? All right, pretty good, but I got to tell you, the ATV crowd yesterday did a lot better. So I know the two-wheel fans, you guys can come alive for us right now. And I know that Mikey Waynes is banking on you guys to blow everyone away, including Ohio 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to ask you one more time, Indiana, are you ready to go Ironman GNCC racing? 10 seconds, and row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at the AMSOIL Ironman GNCC. $250 up for grabs as these riders round that first turn, and it's going to be Ricky Russell. Russell out front. It is the number 4 and the number 1 right there, but Ricky Russell gets the whole shot. Row number 2, the XC2 getting set to roll next. We've got Craig DeLong, Ben Kelly, Jesse Grom, Samuel Evans, Dylan Rash, Braxton McGee, Nathan Thornhill, Pascal Rockenecker, Austin Lee, Brendan Riordan, Harrison Helmick, also looking for Michael Witkowski, Cole Madison, Ryder Lafferty, Evan Smith, Anthony Federico, Dylan McRitchie, Ryan Francis, Jake Froman, Lane Michael, Nick Davis, Tristan Landrum, Zach Nolan, and Trevor Barrett in 10 seconds. The mad dash to the first turn as they sort it out. And it looks like it's going to be Michael Witkowski. Witkowski, the 282 from North Liberty, Indiana, on the RPM KTM FMF Maxxis back machine. Up next, the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am. Jack Evanson, Devin Welch, Luke, Jimmy Jarrett, Kenny Day, Mark Haresco, Joshua Brame, David Quillen, Old DQ, Matthew Sims, Taylor Jones, Hunter North, Josh Osby, Jaron Williams, and Christopher Vendetti. 10 seconds. Around the first turn we roll, and it's Jimmy Jarrett. Jimmy Jarrett, former XC1 Pro Class racer, out front, and now a snow racer, believe it or not. Open A coming up next, Brady Myers, Vincent Smith, Zach Tussle, Connor Smith, Justin Murphy, also Ben Parsons, Max Randolph, Tom Wagner, Justin Leonard, Hunter McDaniel, Austin Smith, Zach Dodson, Cope Becker, Jaden Johnson, Corbin Francie, Tyler Vore, Alex Witkowski, Cameron Prochnow, Bryce Coster, Hunter Maddox, Logan Papoul, Corey Jordan, and Levi Keller. 10 seconds. And the Open A are off and rolling. Couldn't quite get that one unless that was a 67, quite possibly, a Connor Smith. Up next, so 200A class, we got Brody Johnson, Austin Pogurba, Johnny Manera, Ty England, Devin Sherrick, Nick Hunt, Nathan Davis, also Zach Davidson, Chris Crispin, Connor Gwynn, Zach Murphy, and Joshua Hensley. 10 seconds. And the 200A are off and rolling. Who's going to grab and snag the early lead in this one? 4-6-9 of Zachary Davidson out of Iron Station, North Carolina, Husqvarna USA, Chad Davis Racing, FXR, WRP. Also 250A, Jesse Ansley, Eric Douglas, Sam Shaver, Matthew Davis, Will Buskirk, Anthony Tavani, Alex Teagard, Dawson Driscoll, Owen Guys, Theo Lepley, Chance Milan, Nathan Rector, Logan Kiddick, Zachary Du Bois, Preston Wheeler, Logan Densmore, Nick Peterson, Braxton Bill, JoJo Bowden, Tristan Melgoza, Ryan Grogot, also Sam Mattingly, Devin Byer, Dakota DeVore, Josh Leduc, Bo Malcolm, Chase Terry, Brock Rafe, Gregory Coffey, Matthew Kiefer, Eric Souders, Jonathan Johnson, and Cody Barnes. Four-stroke A lights coming up next. Connor Keegan, Adam Hollenkamp, Ryan Slopko, Bolton Biroth, Brendan Poling, RJ Cook, Adam Parker, Justin Meads, Tyler Braniff, Riley Johnson, Drew Rainey, Austin Dan Hour, Jordan Mapes, Luke Chillman, Nick O'Brien, and Braden Moore. 10 seconds. Brendan Poling from Grafton, West Virginia, the 326. Four Brothers Food. Also Suzuki of Winston-Salem, Fly, and MVR, bringing us that four-stroke A lights early leader. Next is the Vet A 30 Plus, Joe Marsh, Sam Forrester, Jared Hoffman, Jesse Arsenal, Anthony Utley, Casey Mole, Matt Harrington, Jesse Robinson, Nathan Allering, Chad Fording, and Bill Zavendi. 10 seconds. .277, Jesse Arsenal, good jump off the line. Let's see if that's going to take him to the second turn of the early lead. He's got company. Oh no, 92, Sam Forrester out of Elkton, Maryland, stealing away that early lead on the Cherry Hill Psycho KTM. Junior AB 25 plus class, Andrew Boggs, Dustin Ulrich, Joshua Smith-Baker, Justin Denius, Dylan Narrow, Tyler Martin, Travis Leonard, Casey Belt, David Schmidt, Ethan Challey, Josh Keys, Lucas Talley, Tavis Sewell, Eddie Harbor, Lane Hosler, Jesse Kildlow, Tyler Quadrada, and Sean Cunningham. And they're off. Let's see if we can sort this one out up front. Oh, 271 on that machine. That might have been Travis Leonard, Senior A 40 plus class. Shotgun Sean Remington, Moto Fro Rob Brown, Christian Broombaugh, Kenneth O'Connor, John Leonard, Willis West, Frank Tussle, Rick Burton, Eric Terrell, Patrick Patterson, Rod Marshall, Jeffrey Odell, Brad Mundy, and Aaron Huff. 10 seconds. Oh, look at here. Christian Broombaugh on a beta. Oh, wait a minute, 904. 904 is gonna steal that, and don't have him on my sheets here, so we go to the senior B class. 40-plus riders: Jeffrey Flynn, Leon Whitaver, Tom Lebo, David Zimmer, Mark Koch, Bobby Hall, Duncan Gray, Mark Proper, Greg Chappelle, Daniel Cleveland, Kelly Laborde, Darren Darmos, and Gregory Richardson. 10 seconds. Sounds like the fans are going wild, and there's lots of them down at Ironman Hill right now. It's a 107 of Jeffrey Flynn out of Oldfields, West Virginia, takes the early lead. And it looks like 4-stroke B lights: Tucker Hanks, Joe Spivey, Jonathan Thiessen, Alec Kesling, Tanner Kerpman, Garrett Wagner, Colt Kensler, Clayton Stewart, Josh Bricks, and Tyler Daniels, Tucker Sled, David Whirling, Jake Fetcher, Hunter Hall. 10 seconds. David Taylor, Zach Fruits, Max Lee, Corey Burton, Jacob Taylor, and Hunter Scott. Oh, thread and needles, look at that. 223, might have been Joe Spivey. Next to the 250B, Kyle Prismont, Jack Vonderwerth, Chase Sweda, Jeremy Hamilton, Caleb Cloyd, John Downey, Grant Kirkman, Jack Osterwood, Noah Smet, Michael DeLosa, Jeff Lance, Blaine Kimry, Ryan Tite, Tucker Roberts, Brad Swallis, Langton Feltner, Kyle Morris, Brady Stefanik, Austin Williams, Cole Edwards, Casey Smotherman, also Evan Stewart, Francis Philotron, Brandon Hardman, Jared Messer, and Bill Saliga. And 250B off and rolling, led by the 85 on his bike, but I think that was 462. Blaine Kimry out of Charlotte, North Carolina on a Universal RS Barrett Teardrop Films back machine. 200B, Benjamin Wright, Hayden Kraft, Chase Colville, Sam Hall, Aiden Poxton, Casey Moore, Tobin Miller, Alex Kyle, Jeffrey Snoofer, Brendan Keegan, and Jordan Bill. 10 seconds. .154. Benjamin Wright from Gillette, Pennsylvania. Getting a blistering fast start there. Got a couple of bike links heading into turn 2 as we go to the vet B30 plus class. Sean Morris, Kyle Ulvey, Ross Kennedy, Zachary Marshall, Benjamin Gross, David Stutzman, Sean Oil, Scott Krause, Kevin Rammer, Jason Hall, Patrick Miller, Wes Morris, Jay Middlestat, Sean Nicholson, also Ryan Wilkie, David Phelps, Alan Phelps, Joseph Patton, Joe Barr, Sean Zendler, Isaac Beckel, Matthew Ellermitz, also David Trinkle, Neil Hood, Jordan Overfield, Charles Becker, Jeremy Stowobi, and Scott Dowland. Rolling toward that first turn now, 30-plus riders, 28 taking off this starting line. 417, Kevin Rammer. Rammer getting the early lead in that one. And then the Open B class, Jacob Pritt, Kyle Johnson, Grant Lehman, Dawson Zimmer, Jonathan Chittum. Looks like Marshall McFarland, Al Petty, Matthew Allender, Ross Fernandez, Connor Nahidi, Donnie Hildebrand, Trenton Boffman, Luke Brinkoff, Steven Schonkweiler, Joseph Bibler, Cody Stevens, Matt Sorge, Jackson Linkhouse, Dalton Kemp, Michael Phelps, Skylar Griffin, Jacob Barnes, Jack Wins, Brandon Rushner, Dakota Harrison, Cole Moore, Dylan Ullman, Tom Bush, Caleb Ringas, Jimmy Winterbottom, Mike Leach, also Casey Moore, Anthony Herring, Trevor Hadaway, and Drew Norris. And the 31. Looks like he may have that one. And that, my friends, will be our starts here for this afternoon. 316 riders here in this afternoon race affair, totaling 2,398 total entries for the weekend for 2017 here at the AMSOIL Ironman GNCC. Stick around. What kind of history will be written over the course of the next 3 hours, and can Caleb Russell break the all-time wins record on motorcycle, and of course be alone in that field heading into 2018. Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
GNCC is Bald Eagle 50 cal, cowboy boots, diesel trucks, Copenhagen, Bush Light kind of men.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser.
Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best?
The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket. Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
I'm Barry Hawk, 8-time GNCC champion, current Coastal Racing team manager. Coastal Racing depends on Evans coolant because there is a lot of variables in GNCC racing, toughest, most demanding sports there is. From my experience, without a doubt, Evans is the way to go. We have it in all of our race bikes, our race ATVs, our UTVs. It is for sure, without a doubt, a must on our race team. The pros use Evans coolant, and so should you.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. I'm Mikey Waynes, and I'll be joined in a moment by Rodney Tomlin, as well as our very own Johnny Gallagher. Johnny G will be in the studio with us. I believe Steve Hatch will be in here as well, and then we'll have a special guest, a couple special guests with us here today. We'll let you know more about that in just a little bit. But we're out here in Crawfordsville, Indiana for the 23rd annual. Can you believe that? 23rd annual AMSOIL GNCC Ironman. Unbelievable. And this is it, the 13th and final round of this 2017 season. And you can tell by the, the still picture right now, but you can tell by the picture, the mud fleas. We're in Carhartts, we're in sweaters, we're trying to keep warm out here. So coming into, oh, there we go. We already got some action right here in the bridge crossing. Rider goes down. You can tell it's a little slick on that thing, and this rider learned that right there. Well, I believe we're going to take a look at some last round highlights to kind of set the stage for where we're at today. Maybe. There we go. Last round. So last
The Polaris Ace Powerline Park GNCC.
Ohio at Powerline Park. Out of the gate, here is our XC1 class coming out front. And who got the whole shot? Was it Sipes out there in front? I believe was out there early, working around these hole shots. It was a mutter. It was completely different from the Saturday run that we had with the ATVs. The next day it was like a completely different track. So you're going to get some good shots of these guys going up over the creek jump right there, and I'm telling you, you could have kept the camera on that creek jump a few weeks back all day long. The action was incredible, and I'm sure we're going to get the highlight. Our XC1 rider that went down. Oh, thank you very, very much. I've been waiting on this sticker for a while. Duvall Works. Thank you. Thad Duvall, Maggie Duvall. There we go. There it is right there. Rider goes down, and that was the story of the day. I mean, you would get sucked into that mud. The forks would go down. The front tire would just sit you there, and it would it pretty much ruined a lot of races for a lot of riders just a few weeks back. You can see these XC1 guys trying to pull through. There's a great shot of Caleb Russell working through this section. And look at them in second and third. They're jockeying for position and working there. There's I couldn't make out who it was, but you just see the conditions they had to deal with. A different tail coming in here to the Ironman this weekend. It's tacky, but a couple weekends ago, or 3 weekends ago, rather, there at the Powerline Park, they had to deal with the mud all day. You can tell it's difficult enough. There goes Ricky Russell working his way through, and Lane Michael, the 523 Coastal Racing rig, out of the XC2 class coming through right there. But it was an absolute chaotic race, and I know these guys, they had fun with it, but they've got to be happy. See there, that's what we're talking about. The bike is darn near gone. 2 bikes almost gone there. The action, I'm telling you, at that mud hole just a few weeks back was something else. Thank goodness for the mud fleas, and I know we got mud fleas out there today in full force, pulling these guys out and up the hill today, but a few weeks back it was that mud hole right after the creek jump that they had to deal with. So Caleb Russell capping off a career-tying win with Scott Summers there. So the champagne showers were on. I believe the 5th championship for him, and Trevor Bollinger working his way through the finish here. Or they threw up the Trevor Bollinger name at least. I believe that's still Caleb. There we go. We're back to Caleb. There we are. So Caleb Russell, the celebration was on. The poppin' bottles was on from the whole KTM crew. There's his wife Chandler showering him with the champagne. What a way to capture another championship for Caleb Russell. And the stage is set coming into the Ironman here this weekend. That sweet, sweet taste of victory. Can Caleb do it again? Well, we're going to take a look at our start replays. We're going to break it down for you through the XC1, XC2, and XC3. Let's take a look at those starts. So here we go, the RacerTV rapid replay. Out of the gate, definitely different conditions than a couple weeks ago. It was Ricky Russell out of the XC1 class capturing that hole shot. So great start for Ricky Russell here. One of our winners from this season. I believe we've had 6 different winners in the XC1 class this season, so great start for Rixie. This is still our XC1 there, and we're running back into the race action. There we go. I believe, is this the Twin Hills section? So Caleb's in second. Is it still Ricky Russell in first? Was that him who went through there first? I believe it was. I'm going to say it was until I hear otherwise. So I think it's still Ricky Russell. That looked like him moving up, and I'd say, maybe 3 or 4 seconds back was Caleb Russell on that number 1 KTM, searching for that record-breaking win here today. So now getting a good shot at these guys coming up the hill here. An iconic area here at the Ironman Raceway, and the mud fleas out in full force. Not having to do too much work for the pro guys just yet, but that may change for some of our other classes as the day goes on. Look at that crowd out there drinking their favorite adult beverage. And you can tell by the looks of everybody, if you're wondering, yeah, it's a little cold. It's been in the 30s. We've been fortunate enough. We've had heat waves in the low 40s, but everybody's bundled up in the Carhartts and the thermals, and hopefully some hand warmers. I think I've gone through more hand warmers this weekend than I ever have in my life. But we're surviving, and that's what Ironman's all about. And here, I think that might have been, is that Lane Michael? Oh, Jonathan Garrar. Am I saying that right? Hey, I said it right. Wheels is with us here from Racer X, and Garrar. Jonathan Garrar working through there. And I believe, I'm thinking of someone else. I'm sorry. But, yeah, no, kudos to him. I thought that was Lane Michael. Very similar gear. And I thought, man, he's already up there. Nothing different for Lane Michael to move up into, top fighting within the top 5 for sure. So we're getting a good look at the race in action. Still some leaves on the trees. Can you believe that? As cold as it is, I feel like the ground should be covered in snow. But here we are, man. Again, 23rd annual Ironman GNCC. We believe Ricky Russell's out in front. Just didn't quite catch him. I know that Caleb Russell was behind him on his heels in the second place position, and that's the big story today. Can Caleb Russell capture that 47th win and move ahead or move atop the all-times wins list, passing Scott Summers? We will see today. Today we'll find out if he's going to stay tied and it's going to take one more season to make it happen, or if it's going to have a history making Ironman here this weekend. We will see. But right now, getting a good look at the riders rolling through that mile 7-mile marker. I believe it's like a 13-mile course today. I believe in a little bit we'll probably take a look at the track map. But, yeah, great weekend in store for us here. Some of the other stories coming into this one, your WXC champion, Taylor Jones, she's running in the FMF XC3 class. And these have got to be some of our XC2 guys rolling through now. Can't quite get up close enough to make out who they are, where they're at out there. But we'll keep you posted on that when we do find out. We should have some live scoring coming through here in just a moment. And speaking of guys that can somehow Johnny's got it down to a science almost. Johnny Gallagher's got this thing down to a science almost, as far as he can look at these guys in the woods, and we're almost blind to it, Rodney and I. And Johnny, I don't know if you just got the riding styles down that well or what, man, but you always seem to know who's rolling through there.
Look, man, I know one thing in the world, and it's GNCC racing. So when you only got one trick, you got to do it real well. But, yeah, here we are at Ironman Hill, and, man, look at these crowds, Mikey. It's just awesome to see all the fans that are out here today. And as you said, looks like these are some of the XC2 guys working their way through.
That one might be Lane Michael.
No, Lane didn't have the black gear.
Oh, he did
this
not.
morning.
Well, see, I didn't see all of the starts. So
yep, I saw Lane on his way to the starting line. It was definitely a crazy, crazy getting things started here a little bit late, but that just shows. I mean, by the time we got all those 908 riders, I believe it was this morning, signed up, it's just absolutely insane that that many riders out here, this many spectators, and it really does show kind of the overall fair or festival atmosphere that is Ironman GNCC racing. As you pointed out, 23 years coming here to this piece of property, and 23 years of great racing, 23 years of Ironman. Well, not quite 23 years of Ironman Hill. We didn't do this until about I think it was 6 or 7 years in was the first time that they introduced this as part of the track. That looks to be Dylan Rash there, rider out of Florida. So that is XC2 riders working their way through. Camera's a little notchy, so it's kind of hard to catch some of these guys. But what it's really not showing is just how steep that hill is, Mikey. When you're standing there and you're looking up the top of that thing, I mean, it's like looking up the side of a mountain. I mean, it's so steep. It's so tall. It's and this is just one of the many features that are out here on this Ironman Raceway GNCC course today. And actually, I think we got a chance to catch up with Jared Bolton, and he was able to tell us all about this facility and what it offers these riders.
There's definitely a reason that this is always our biggest race of the year. This course is absolutely phenomenal. It's truly, I feel like I say this every week, that it's got something for everybody, but this place really, really does have something for everybody. There's rocks, there's good dirt, there's tight sections, there's open sections, there's motocross, there's cornfield sections. Oh, and did I mention that there's really good dirt here? This place is phenomenal. It's always been phenomenal, and it just seems like it gets better year after year. A lot of places, they kind of wear down over time, but it seems like Ironman just stays exactly the same year after year. And it's a good open, it's more open than tight in places, but it also tightens up and definitely gives those guys that are a little faster in the tight stuff an opportunity to catch up and make for some great racing. And we've definitely got some tight battles coming into this weekend. It could make a great weekend, so hope you guys enjoy it.
Mikey, as we look at the overview here, and we hear Bolton explain, obviously, this long 12-mile course that we've got here today, one thing that really sticks with me is the picture from, I believe it was 2 years ago or possibly even last year, the oversight picture from a drone or maybe from a helicopter we saw this place. I mean, this place, what you're looking at on the screen right now is packed, full of vehicles, full of people.
Yes.
Absolute insanity. And it looks like actually through VP Fuels Pro Row, Ricky Russell is through leading, and Caleb Russell right on his rear wheel. So we didn't get to see that on screen, but they did just come through VP Fuels Pro Row. Again, Ricky Russell hard on the gas and leading. And Mikey, where's everybody else?
Dude, I don't know. We saw them come up the hill a while ago. We weren't sure if it was Ricky Russell out in front. Obviously it was. And I would say the gap at that time, I think Caleb was probably behind him by maybe 4 or 5 seconds. That gap is closed up. And who's that guy right there? The 989 of Thad Duvall making his way through in third.
Yep, and the 264, Ryan Sipes on that Coastal Racing Husqvarna in fourth. And it looks like in the 5th place spot, that is Jordan Ashburn on the Factory Beta. Then Trevor Bollinger on the number 5 JCR Honda in 6th. 7th is Grant Baylor, just now coming by here, VP Fuels Pro Row. We've got our top 7 through, and now Josh Strang in 8th, Stu Baylor in 9th, and who do we got here? Looks to be Russell Bobbitt in 10th. So the 113 of Russell Bobbitt rounding out the top 10 in the XC1 class right now. These guys are through VP Fuels Pro Row. Nobody had any stops, no reason to yet at this point. Dirt's great. They don't need goggles and they don't need fuel just yet. We'll start seeing that that area of the racetrack get a little busier here in the next coming laps.
Yes, it
They'll
will.
be coming in. It'll be like a air traffic controller trying to get those guys in and out of there. Everybody wanting to drop the hammer, but right now the reason they're pushing so hard, they need to try and catch back up to Caleb Russell and Ricky Russell.
Yeah.
Because the twin Russells are gone.
Yes, they are.
They have lit the fuse, and good to see Thad Duvall back out there. You pointed that
Yeah.
out, Mikey. He's been absent the last 4 races, I guess it would be now. Or I'm sorry, last 3 races. And there we see Craig DeLong, and actually the rider in front of Craig on screen there is not an XC2 rider. That is actually XC1 rider, or I believe he's riding XC1. Andrew DeLong. I don't know if he was in our
I
XC1.
didn't hear, so I'm not
So
positive.
I know he is on a 2-stroke. So there we see Johnny Gerard coming by, and then Austin Lee. So he's putting in a good ride in that XC2 Pro Lights class.
Yes, he is, and I know he was talking before the race in the pre-race report about wanting to do essentially his home fans right. So keep your eyes on that 1, 2, 3 of Austin Lee. But I want to go back to Thad Duvall. You know, the people listening didn't necessarily get to hear the pre-race report, but to kind of summarize what Thad was talking about was he felt like he's lost a little bit of speed in his time away from GNCC. So he was looking forward to coming out here and seeing what he's got. And there we go. Now the battle's on. Coming into the Twin Hills section right now.
Twin Hills, Ricky Russell on the gas, and on his rear wheel is Caleb Russell. I'll tell you right now, Caleb, you need to back off him just a little bit. I took a rock off the back of Hunter Hart's bike right around there yesterday and had a bloody nose to show for it. So, and we're looking at VP Fuels Pro Row, Cameron McAdoo working his way through. So that's one of our motocross and supercross stars that is actually out there doing the GNCC thing this weekend. And again, back to Thad Duvall, there he is on screen. You know he's still got to be finding his flow here.
Yeah.
But I would assume, once he does find that, we know he hasn't lost his speed. His fitness is still there. Wow, Jordan Aspirin gets a big old kick out of that section. And there's Bollinger right behind him. Sipes also through there. So that is your top 5 who are through there. And those guys all pushing hard. And again, there is Grant Baylor in that 6th place spot.
Yeah, so encouraging to see, like I was saying, encouraging to see Thad out there going in 3rd place. Moving through here in this race. He's kind of feeling himself out. So to see him up there running 3rd place already this early, he's got to feel good. We'll see, if Thad's got the stamina and the strength, not doubting him by any means, but if he's got what it takes. As these guys, man, Ricky Russell and Caleb Russell coming in to the last few turns here right before the finish. Looks like Caleb got a wee bit hung up, but these guys are pretty much tired now after 1 lap.
Yeah. They're pushing hard, and Caleb is hard on the gas. It looks like he's wanting to get around Ricky. You would think that he might be content to let Ricky lead a bit there, but Thad Duvall's put on a charge, and I tell you what, he has closed up that gap quite a bit on those top 2. So Thad now in that 3rd place spot is closed up the gap to the top 2, and Ryan Sipes just behind him there in the 4th place spot as they enter back onto this Ironman moto track. Ryan Sipes is a rider who, if I'm not mistaken, had actually been on the podium here before in the motocross side of things. This was his first ever podium, if I do believe correctly. Austin Lee actually misses the turn for the Twin Hills and has to make his own line to get to it. And I believe that is our XC2 Pro Lights leader at the moment. We'll see when they check in here in just a moment. The next rider we see through is Josh Toth, the number 1 machine on that NFAB and Pro Yamaha. So he is, it looks like he's going to actually make the pass on the rider in front of him, because the other rider missed the turn there. There's Lane Michael, and that's another XC2 rider. Not sure exactly who that was. There we see Witkowski. There's Andrew DeLong, Craig DeLong. And I tell you what, I think that rider we may not have recognized, and I apologize, I'm gonna butcher this poor guy's name because he hasn't checked in yet, but I do know he's visiting from Europe, and rumors have it that he is going to be competing with us full-time next year. And I'm going to go ahead and take a stab, as we're joined by Rodney Tomlin here in the booth. The last name, as I believe it, is Ronick.
That's kind of close. I got it kind of close, too. And I told him, I said, we will certainly work on that, and we hope that will be back next year, and he did. I believe he will be back next year.
Well,
so.
well, let me tell you how I pronounced it when I read it all by myself. Once I figured out who he was, I was speaking last week about him coming over. I knew there was a rider coming over from World Enduro and from Europe. I actually thought it was Josep Garcia mistakenly, and then when I was corrected by Caleb and he told me the gentleman's name, I looked him up on social media and I came up with Rocknick there. So
that's about as close as anything.
Yeah, so I don't think that's actually it. There we see Jack Edmondson.
It's not far.
Jack Edmondson, our XC3 Pro Lights leader, or I'm sorry, XC3, FMF XC3 125 Pro Class leader. He has worked his way through. Looks like we got some more XC3 riders trying to work their way through there. So yeah, but he'll be joining us next season full time. Rumors have it that he will be on a Husqvarna. Not exactly sure where to land in terms of teams, but wanted to come over. It's been a long dream of his to come over and race here in the United States. And there he is, Pascal.
Pascal, that's it.
Pascal?
Rockenecker.
Rockenecker?
Rockenecker.
Okay. All right, well, we'll have to work on our so that's our goal.
I believe Austria is where he is from.
Yes.
And a really personable young man. He speaks great English, so I mean he's going to fit right in right off the bat. And I tell you, he is here. He loves motorcycle racing, and he is really amped up. The only thing that he is concerned about is the third hour. He says he's not real sure about what to expect out of 3 hours of racing, so this is going to be pretty interesting. If we take a look at this right now, he is looking like top 5 of the XC2 Pro Class there, that 250 Pro Class, and as we look at that a little closer, he's actually in 5th place. He's only a half second behind Lane Michael, who's only about 3 seconds behind Evan Smith. There's about a 15-second gap up to, 3 seconds behind Josh Toth, then about a 15-second gap up to Austin Lee. How about that? Austin Lee here in his home state of Indiana, and he kind of said, this is my hometown race, sort of, and he was pretty pumped when I talked to him in the race report earlier today. So to see him out front and leading right now, this is a good place for him on a lot of different levels, Johnny. To be leading this, it's good for his personal confidence. It's good for what's going on there with JCR, and it shows that he has improved and is continuing to improve on that brand and with that team. I think that the JCR folks have got a great combination in Trevor Bollinger and Austin Lee down there, and I don't see anything but good things for that whole team in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Rodney, we can't say enough about that. I mean, there's a rider that really has a lot of talent. He was a standout performer in the youth ranks, won some championships, moved up, did very well in the A classes as a 125 or 200 A rider, and then even in the 4-stroke A lights class. And since moving up to that or 250 A class as well, since moving up to that XC2 Pro Lights class, he's had a podium here or there, but he's never really found his groove. And I tell you what, if Stella's looking to get her groove back, there's no better place to do it than in their home state race. And Austin Lee out there right now absolutely throwing it down, putting a torrid pace in on that first lap that actually has him up well within the top 10 overall. We'll have to see when we run down that top 20 overall right where he falls in, but definitely the best first lap we've ever seen out of Austin Lee.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'll tell you, welcoming some big names out here. We talked about the Austrian rider, Pascal there, but also welcoming back Jimmy Jarrett. Jimmy Jarrett is racing in the FMF XC3. He's doing that kind of like snow racing on 2 wheels, the 2-wheel sleds, I guess is what they are. You've seen those
timber sleds, I think.
Timber sleds, that's exactly what it's called. And he's going to be racing that in Oregon this winter, so kudos to him, but good to see him back out here. Also want to make mention of our visit here from Cameron McAdoo. Cameron McAdoo is a Geico Honda rider from the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross National Championship. Watch that kid grow up through the ranks of Loretta Lynn's, and seeing him do what he's been able to do the last little bit and then make the switch over to GNCC. Said, I've never raced a GNCC. I've never been out like this, so he says this is going to be interesting. He was excited. He was amped, and I'm amped for him. Good to see the Geico Honda folks here. They came in from South Carolina all the way from down at Club MX. It's not like they were in the neighborhood and decided to come on over. Ricky Russell still in the lead there as we cross the bridge, and we have Ricky Russell back in that number 2 position, as looks like these two are really starting to open things up. They had a 23-second lead over Thad Duvall, who only had a 2-second lead over Ryan Sipes when last we saw them. There in Thad Duvall now, checking in, I believe, there on the 989, and I don't see Ryan Sipes. There he's Sipes. He's not as close as he was, but still within a 5-second range there, as we caught them nearly in the same camera shot at the same time. So there are our top 4 through. Jordan Ashburn should be our next rider checking through on board the number 4, and it is the number 5 of Bollinger getting around the number 4 of Jordan Ashburn. So Bollinger now up a spot to the number 5 spot. That drops Ashburn off to a 6th place position. There's the 314, Grant Baylor. He's running 7th, still running strong. Should be seeing Josh Strang make his way around next, shaking a little arm pump away in the process of doing just that. Behind that, we should be seeing Stu Baylor here pretty soon. And actually, that was Baylor ahead of Josh Strang. That was a 514, not a 114. Sorry about that. So that was Baylor shaking away that arm pump whenever he came around through there, Mikey. So, wow, already starting to see some changes. And whenever you see Baylor working his way up through the pack, he's up from 9th now to 8th place. Looks like he might be trying to cap the season off with bookends there. A win at the beginning of the season, and he's going to try to dig deep and try to find a win, I believe, here in the final round of 2017. He's got a long road to hoe still,
yes.
But I'll tell you, if anybody's capable of it, Stu Baylor would be one of them, Grant Baylor would be another, and a host of any of these other riders. But, man, those two really seem to know how to dig deep and work their way up through the packs. And Austin Lee checking in. We saw him a few moments ago. We told you that Austin is actually leading the XC2 250 Pro class. He has checked in at 10th place overall. That drops Russell Bobbitt off to 11th. Josh Toth, second in the XC2 Pro-Am, is 12th overall. Then Evan Smith, the 347 from Jefferson, Georgia, new name in the XC2 class. He's 13th overall. He is, I believe that would put him 3rd in the class. Lane Michael is 4th. Pascal Rossnecker, the 117 from Austria, is running 15th overall, 5th in class. Craig DeLong, 16th overall. 17th overall is Mike Wachowski, the 282. Benjamin Kelly, the number 12. He's 18th. Jack Evans, an FMF XC3 125 Pro Class leader, is 19th place overall. Nick Davis back with us this weekend on the factory beta. He is rounding out your top 20.
It's impressive stuff. It's one of the things that have impressed me, Rodney, is the fact that, you talked to Thad earlier today in the Dunlop Tires pre-race report. He's back out here racing with us. He battled that injury. He was in contention to win a championship, and it kind of fell apart with the injury. We actually had a chance to catch up with Thad earlier today.
It's been a long couple months off racing, but I'm excited to be back and ready to rip it. Yeah, I just some things are just a little different, but I'm riding in a wrist brace that I feel like helps me to be 100%, and it's just I felt like I raced a local race last weekend, and I felt like I was able to push how I wanted to the whole race. So I want to go out and do the same here.
Well, Bad Thad, he wanted to be a part of this championship. He wanted to be back out here riding, but unfortunately for him, it just wasn't in the cards. But in talking with him and what he tells us, he's feeling back up to 100. He says 110%. That's good. I don't know how you can feel better than 100%, but I like it that he feels that good that he's saying 110. And he's riding well, too. I mean, when you take a rider that literally hasn't raced a GNCC since July 8th, and he's out here running 3rd after all those months, I think things are going pretty good for him right now. So it's, our hats off to Bad Thad.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's one of the first things I mentioned when we saw him running in 3rd place out there for a guy of his caliber that's not raced at this level in several weeks or months. For him to come out and be doing as well as he is right now, pretty darn impressive there in the 3rd place spot. I think the biggest question is going to be, can he keep it up for the duration of a 3-hour race?
Well, that's going to be a big question. I imagine that the endurance factor is going to be the biggest question because he hasn't been riding, so he doesn't have those race legs, so to speak. So we'll just keep an eye on him. But I have to think that Thad Duvall is one of those individuals that might be able to dig just deep enough to make something like that actually happen and be a contender whenever this checker flag finally flies. I think we got a lot of changes to look forward to before the end of a 3-hour race here in Crawfordsville, Indiana. And speaking of Ironman and locally, of course, we want to say thanks to Kelly Taylor for being on hand with us. And Kelly Taylor is joining us here from the Montgomery County Community Foundation. This is the Montgomery County Free Clinic, from what I understand. Is that what it's called, basically around town?
Right. It's a nonprofit organization right here in Montgomery County called the Montgomery County Free Clinic, and we have a group within that clinic called Faith Alliance. And that organization is solely focused on helping Montgomery County residents who are affected by breast cancer and helping them with such needs as mammograms, which are very important. Also helping with those that may have lost their hair and providing wigs that might be needed. And those that may be just in difficult situations that need assistance with transportation, gas, utilities. So again, just focused on those residents right here in Montgomery County that are affected by breast cancer.
That's amazing. That's good to see the community come together like that. And I know we've been doing this pink race here at the Ironman for several years. Faith Alliance has been a big, monumental part of that for many, many years. And through the efforts, and I'll tell you, the total is actually growing, but we presented you with a check there out on the starting line a few moments ago for $7,174, which is the money that we've been able to raise the last couple of days through fundraisers around the racetrack. And I do want to say thanks to folks at RPM KTM. They donated $600. Zakowski Motorsports, $5,000. HBD Stickers and Graphics, $977. The backdrop brought $1,000 in the auction there a little bit ago. And get this, this is where it's continuing to grow right now. And Loft Power Sports is going to be donating some stuff as well. They're going to have a big check to present to you guys. But $2,600 has come in so far from the folks at Yamaha. Now here's the way this works. They are donating $100 for every championship earned by a Yamaha rider in 2017. They have already earned 26 championships. If they earn more, if they are able to capture more, which I'm sure they will at the end of this day, that number will grow. But on top of that, for every Yamaha that wins here this weekend and today, $50 for Yamaha riders go into donations to this fund as well. So there's more money coming, hon.
That is wonderful. We are very grateful for GNCC Racing, the many other partners. Zakowski Racing has always been very dedicated to our cause as well. I was just over visiting with Linda Zakowski. She's a breast cancer survivor. This is a very important cause to her. So we're just very grateful, very appreciative for GNCC Racing coming into our community and giving support back to our community. So thank you to everyone that's involved.
We appreciate Montgomery County, and we want to help out in any way we can. Kelly Taylor, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
That's Kelly Taylor from the Montgomery County Free Clinic in conjunction with Faith Alliance there. And of course, as we roll through this first hour of racing, we're about 44 minutes now into this one. And right now it is a battle up front between the Russell boys. Ricky Russell and Caleb Russell are making it happen with Thad Duvall back in the number 3 spot. What's going to happen with this one? Will Caleb be able to set the new all-time bike wins record? Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
We handle your races, your jumps, and your trails. Isn't it time you give your daily driver the same love? AMSOIL Signature Series Synthetic Motor Oil delivers 75% more engine protection against horsepower loss and wear than required by a leading industry standard. AMSOIL also offers a full family of dirt bike lubricants, giving you above and beyond fortification for your weekday and weekend vehicles. AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
As riders and racers, we understand the need to get quality parts, apparel, and accessories fast. We have the horsepower of multiple warehouses to make sure your gear, OEM parts, or accessories make it to your door quickly. Check out our easy-to-use website and experience customer service that takes the whole shot. RockyMountain8VMC.com. Get ready.
Here he is, Walker Fowler, Brand National Cross Country XC1 Pro Class Champion.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin here along with Johnny Gallagher, Mikey Waynes, Wheels from RacerX Illustrated. Also, we have Steve Hatch in the house. and the wild man himself. Oh, 8 times Dick. Dick Burleson here with us, 8-time National Enduro Champion. Dick, welcome back to RacerTV, man.
Oh, it's my pleasure for sure.
Good to have you out here, man. We saw you out there racing in the industry class again today. How'd that work out for you?
You know, it was different in that it's been a long time since I started that far in the front. I mean, we were second wave to go, you know, and which was, I thought, oh, this will be really great. You know, the problem is all those Sportsman A guys, they're like, so I'm getting like run into. I thought, so I live and learn. I'm better off to start a little bit back, and then I can work my way forward instead of starting up in the front and working my way backwards, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like you had your hands full not only with that, but 900 riders on the racetrack. Wow.
You know, it's a whole different experience in that you're not just riding the terrain. You're not just doing your skill set to ride, whatever. You have to, I mean, listen, it's not like there's one guy every 20 feet. If you do the math, I don't know what it is, you know, but it's pretty,
Right.
There's a lot of guys. It's not like that. What happens is one guy messes up, and then they stack up. So there's a group of 10, 15, whatever. So when you come up on this group, you got a whole group you got to try and get through.
Right.
And it's not that easily done. You know what I mean?
Everybody wants to do well, right?
I think that the AM class is, I always say this to the WXC riders, you guys have got the greatest, sharpest ability when it comes to getting around some of the lapped riders. It's unreal to me.
That's almost as, I mean, truly, it's as much of the deal. It's as much of the deal as riding the terrain.
Yeah.
If not, in some cases more, because, dude, it's just like crowded.
and speaking of terrain, we got our shot here of Ironman Hill as those riders are now crossing the creek and trying to traverse this section of the track. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, it's looking rather timid. It doesn't look too difficult, but as this race is going to wear on, I think we're going to see this become more and more of a challenge, and it's about 2/3 of the way up. That's always that challenge. There's a little lip about that.
Yeah, there's some roots and stuff. You know, I'll tell you though. Besides the cold, it was cold. Besides that, but the ground conditions are about perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, traction. It's Velcro. It's moist, but it's not muddy. And so the hill climbs around. Normally they're like a little sketchy, but today I think it's ideal ground, ideal amount of moisture in the dirt, and
about as close to perfect as you can get.
It's about as close to perfect, and shockingly, there's not that much water in the creek,
I know,
so it doesn't drag it all the way up.
That's
you know,
good.
So yeah, and they're going right up that thing.
Oh yeah, making it look easy. That's for sure.
Well, it was like the hill over here just before the motocross track. I don't know what that one's called.
Twin Hills, I think.
The big issue, you know what the big issue is? You come up to it, you can't see because there's like 1,000 spectators in there. Where are we supposed to go, you know? You can't see where you're supposed to go because there's so many spectators. And then like the last lap, I come around, the right side was always the best line. I commit to the right. Well, I couldn't see. It's like these, you can't see them, you know?
They do disappear, you're right.
Yeah, so I committed to the right, and then when I popped out where I could actually see up the hill, there's 3 guys all laid up and blocking it off. So I just like turned left a little bit and went up there's another route just to the left. You can't even see it in there. But it's real steep, it's got ledges, and nobody's used it. So I'm committed. So I just like kind of turn left and hit that thing, looped it out. It's perfect.
That's great. Now, Dick, I hate to talk about people's ages, but at the same time, man, the respect that I think that you are worthy right now. How old a man are you now?
69 and almost. I only got 3 more months and I'll be 70 years old.
Jeez, man, that just blows me away. I'm sitting here talking to Dick Burleson, who is still one of the fastest guys on the racetrack, almost 70 years old, man.
You know, and the funny part about it is I retired in 81. yeah. 80. Well, most people are like They were born when I was retired. You know?
Yeah. Most of the people that are here.
You know, the morning race, it's like I say, it's a real challenge with that many, without a crowd. The skill set that you have to develop, which if you do these enough, you learn. Okay, you don't follow somebody in here because they're probably going to screw you up. And but the courses, you know, it's what's really unique here is we get to ride a world caliber motocross track.
Yeah.
And we do almost all of it in 2 sections or 1 second, whatever. You know, and that's fun. You know, I wish I was a little younger to do some of a couple of those jumps, but I did some of them. You know, and it's a really, not only do you get to ride the course, but you get to ride the moto track, and then and you get to experience the crowd. I mean, you know,
there's
this
a lot.
event, of course, I'm of another generation, right? This is like Woodstock for motorcycles. I mean, truly.
Yeah.
Look at all these people. It's killer. It's awesome. None of the other ones get this kind of turnout. Not that I know of.
No, not that I know
I think
of
this
either.
one's on a whole nother level.
That's amazing. And Dick, I know you get to come out here all the time in support with Moose Racing. I know you guys got a lot of cool stuff going on over there right now, right?
Oh, yeah. We have, well, in only a month or so ago, 2 months ago, we introduced our 18 outerwear line. And, you know, we've got that on display. We're only display out of the semi-truck. It's mostly a billboard and display material. And then, of course, we're like hard parts, man. That's where our big business is. And so all these guys, I love it when there's 800 guys out of there thrashing down on mud. They're going to need brakes and chains. And
Job security.
Job security for you, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. You know,
Caleb Russell has taken over the leads, the report that we're getting right here, right now. And there he is on RacerTV. If you're watching, we're at the FMF PowerPoint, and Ricky Russell not too far behind from reports. And there comes Ricky. He's got some lap traffic to try to contend with right now, but Ricky has got the hammer down. He gets past that rider and trying to lay chase now down to
how about
Caleb.
that?
There's Thad. Now, Thad has really closed up that gap between first and second. There was almost 25 seconds that separated that position there at one point, but now I'm going to have to think that that's probably closer to a 15-second gap that we're starting to see close up there with Ricky Russell falling just a little behind Caleb Russell now.
Maybe he was talking about being 110%. I think he was telling you the truth right there, man. Making up that time. Pretty incredible stuff there in the third place position still, but obviously making up some time.
Wow, look
There's
at this.
Ryan Sipes and Trevor Bollinger.
Right on his rear wheel right there. Bollinger certainly wanting to better himself here in the overall championship, as well as he wants to leave this race with a big statement right there right now. Chasing down Ryan Sipes. That's a big statement he's trying to make, I think.
Well, you know, the afternoon is like, in a way, it's the same in the morning. Those guys that go off the first row, they got a free lap with no traffic.
Yeah.
So they're like, you know, you can really go, and you're riding the course really good. Well, then now they're into traffic, and so that's where, like I was saying, in the morning,
Frank making his way through, guys. Sorry.
Dealing with lappers and passing, getting in traffic. That's a huge part after that first lap. Now they're doing it. So you know, Caleb's just I don't know where he passed him, but my bet is he had somebody in there doing a pick for him. It's my bet.
Oh, I don't doubt that a bit. You know, we just saw Josh Strang going by. I didn't catch whether or not the 3:14 of Grant Baylor was just ahead of him. I know at last check there was about a 10-second gap between those two. Stu Baylor should have been checking in, and actually Stu gotten around Josh, if you remember when we checked in, I think it was about the 1.5 mile marker. So Stu Baylor was in that 8th place position. So I don't know if Strang got back around him or we just happened to miss him on screen. We'll watch right here, right now, as some of these riders are checking in. That's Russell Bobbitt in the 113. I'll tell you, Russell Bobbitt, a very successful off-road racer. We've known that this guy is an iconic national enduro racer for many, many years, and he's tried and dabbled in GNCC a lot. But you know, it wasn't until 3 weeks ago in Ohio at Powerline Park that we ever saw the 113 grace the presence of the podium. And what an amazing ride Russell put together that day. I mean, that was one of those days where everything just fell into place for him. And you know, you can tell, even though he's a little further back right now, 11th place after that first lap, he's not riding like he's in an 11th place position. He's riding like he's trying to move up through the pack to get to that top 5, maybe a podium spot again.
Well, you know, it was that one in Ohio. He was, by the way, he was really stoked about getting on a podium, I can tell you. And it was really.
Caleb Russell here at Twin Hills, and there is Ricky Russell reeling him right back in as they head up this section of the race course. They'll be coming here to the finish line soon. According to timing and scoring, they are due in within the next couple to 2 to 3 minutes. So there is Thad Duvall again. That gap maybe back around that 22nd frame there, as it looks like Ricky might have picked the pace back up a little bit. But Thad right now all by himself in third, doesn't really have anyone to key off of. So this could be a long ride for him today unless things really start to pick back up for him. Back to the motocross track now. Rick, look at that. Ricky Russell has closed up to within only a few bike lengths behind the #1 machine. And I tell you, this is kind of reminiscent to what we saw Ricky Russell doing whenever he took the win in snowshoe, man. I mean, he was right there, and then whenever he saw his opportunity, he went out front and kept on going. We've seen him make the passes and lead a couple of different times, and he looks like he's trying to put himself back into that position again. So we're watching 2 different sections. So come at the bottom right corner of your screen is the Twin Hills section, and up here is the moto track, and now the finish line as we see Caleb Russell coming in for his second lap complete, as he will be leading the first lap. This will be the first lap he has led here today. So 1 lap red for Ricky Russell, 1 lap led for Caleb Russell as they check in here with 2 laps down, just under the 1 hour mark at 58 minutes now. They're checking in, and the rest of the field we can watch down below in the right-hand corner of the screen. If you're watching here on RacerTV.com, there's Thad Duvall making his way into the finish line.
Now, what's going to be the difference, Rodney, there between the last time Thad checked in versus now? I got to believe he's cut some time off of that second place position.
Well, 23 seconds, 15 seconds is what we're looking at right now. Jordan Ashburn making his way in. Jordan has had some successes this year. You know, he made a switch to the beta team, and I don't want to necessarily say an untried and untested team, because that machine has been really doing a lot of R&D work over the course of the last few years.
Good.
They hired on Rodney Smith as their team manager and everything now, and he's kind of like the mentor to everybody. And Jordan Ashburn is really fitting into that program well, same as Nick Davis and Drew Higgins, even from the National Enduro Series. So they've got some pretty good stuff going on. And I think Jordan Ashburn, the successes that we're seeing is directly related to the team behind him right now, because he's got good equipment and he's got good direction and leadership at the same time. So as we take a look behind Jordan, Trevor Bollinger, Grant Baylor, Josh Strang, that's the way they checked in last time around. As we update the scenario and situation here for the finish line, this time around, Sipes maintains that 4th place position. Bollinger still in 5th place, but he's only 2.6 seconds still behind Ryan Sipes. Then Grant Baylor is 22 seconds back in the number 6 spot. Jordan Ashburn now into 7th place position out of Cookeville, Tennessee, as he's gotten around Stu Baylor. So Baylor had gotten around. Both the Baylors did go by there. We also missed, looks like Jordan Ashburn in that little exchange. Josh Strang back in the number 9 position as he has checked in with us. And now the big question is, what about your early leader in the XC2 class in Indiana's own Austin Lee? He was running 10th place overall at the end of the first lap of racing. Now we wait to see whether or not he is able to maintain that speed, or quite possibly maybe able to inch a little farther up in the standings as far as the top 10 is concerned. There is Austin Lee on the Honda on that moto track. And very good point, our producer points out, there's no mohawk on his helmet today, so it's a little harder to find him and point him out on the track. But I'll tell you what, he must have been running so fast, he ran that thing right off the top of his helmet.
It's very possible. That, or maybe we've seen the end of the Mohawk if he picks up an XC2 win today. He might say, hey, you know what? Having my head shaved or my helmet shaved is what's working out. The aerodynamics.
My helmet shaved. Well, I can tell you, looking at that boy's hair, he's got some nice long
Oh,
locks.
yeah.
It's going to be a while before he shaves his head, I would imagine. I think him and Trevor are trying to see who can grow the longest hair before the end of the season. But, you know, they both do it well. I know that Trevor has some Native American heritage in his family, so I know what he's representing there. There's Austin Lee now making his way through the finish. This is where we get a check to see where he is in the overall standings, and he is leading the XC2 250 Pro class. He is 10th place still overall right now. If you look, he's about 36 seconds out of 9th place on adjusted time now as we take a close look at that. So with that, Austin Lee is in. Oh, look at this. 2.7 seconds behind Austin Lee is Pascal Rochenecker there. And thank you very much, Dick Burleson, for sticking in with us. But wow, we've got some big things going on. Our Austrian visitor is up to 11th place overall. He is second in the XC2 250 Pro class. And the folks at Coastal Racing have got to be pretty pumped. I know Johnny Gallagher's out and about. He's looking for some information from those guys out there about Austin Lee. Also, don't forget about Pascal over there heading over to Coastal. Man, we got some big things going on. There's Josh Toth back in 3rd place of the class. 4th place is Craig DeLong. Lane Michael rounds out your top 5. They are 12, 13, 14, and Evan Smith is your 15th place rider. He is, I believe, that 6th place ride in the XC2 Pro class. Well, folks, I tell you what, right now it is the Russell boys battling it out front. Caleb Russell is leading. Ricky Russell in 2nd, but he is shadowing his buddy Caleb there. Can he take the win away from him? Will he be the showstopper today and be the one that stops Caleb Russell from establishing the most wins record? Stick around. GNCC Live continues after this.
Are you looking for a dirt bike piston that can increase power and decrease blow-by? Then check out Wiseco's all-new Racer Elite piston line. Racer Elite has been used exclusively by the pros, including RCH, Yoshimura, Suzuki Factory Racing, and are now accessible to the public. Available for popular 250 and 450cc dirt bikes, the Racer Elite series is the first off-the-shelf asymmetrical power sports piston ever made. Its fully machined billet aluminum construction features an exclusive custom lap top ring. Step up with dyno-proven power gains with Wiseco's Racer Elite piston line.
You smell it, you feel it, you can taste it in the air. Speed, man. Full wide open. Blast. I didn't really like high school too much. Too booky, too take notes, learn this, and that's it. Got WildTech. They had full-size motorcycles. The feeling of taking them apart every day, putting them back together. You can't explain it. Everything I learned applies to now. Seeing your motorcycle that you put together right around the track at 180 miles an hour, oh, definitely rewarding. My name's Mike. My school's WildTech.
Get on the fast track to a career. Turn pro at WildTech.
Whether you are looking for a 150 class or 600 class deer, X Factor Whitetails can suit your needs. We offer guided weapon of choice hunts for all groups of all sizes. From the time you arrive at our location, you'll get the 5-star service. We boast the capability of sleeping over 20 people comfortably.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Rodney Tomlin along with Mikey Waynes, Johnny Gallagher. We just talked with Dick Burleson. We talked with Kelly Taylor from the Montgomery County Community Foundation. And now we have with us from AMSOIL, Kevin Kastner, that has made his way in. We'll be talking with him here in just, well, like right now, I guess would be a good time to do that. But real quick updating you, if you're just joining us here on GNCC Live, we are at the season finale, Ironman GNCC, Crawfordsville, Indiana. Caleb Russell leading Ricky Russell. Thad Duval back in, returning to racing since the summer break after being injured at ISDE. Ryan Sipes is running 4th, fresh off of a 3rd place finish at Red Bull Straight Rhythm in that 125 class, and he beat Ryan Villapota. That's his big claim to fame this week. I know a lot of folks are pretty stoked about that. Trevor Bollinger rounding out the top 5, and Kevin is here with us. Kevin, again, you know, I was talking with you off mic there just a few moments ago, telling you about my experiences with AMSOIL. You know, I personally love the products itself, but I, on behalf of all of us here in the GNCC Racing Nation, I personally want to welcome you to AMSOIL and your position in AMSOIL, and here to GNCC Racing as well.
Well, thank you much. I'm glad to be here, and really glad to be a part of this event.
We're really excited to be here. This is a couple of us are new to the team or haven't had a chance to come out, so this is my first adventure out here. And I have to say it's a phenomenal track, and the operation is great. Enjoying the visit so far, and just incredible racing as well.
So was it what you expected when you came out here, or were you a little surprised at the atmosphere that you see out here at the Ironman?
I think it was a little more familiar actually to me. I came from Alaska most recently, where I ran an event called the Iron Dog Race, which is driven largely by volunteers and a lot of people. It's very community oriented, so that part resonated. I really like that. To see people just get hands-on, really help out was refreshing. I enjoy it. So it's different. I mean, AMSOIL is involved in a lot of racing, but this kind of racing is close to our hearts as a company of enthusiasts, people who really care about and have a passion for all kinds of racing and motorsport. This stuff fits right in with who we are and who you are. I think that's a great fit.
Well, I know AMSOIL first in synthetics, cutting edge of technology, and you guys have already accomplished so much. I mean, is there anything new on the table for you guys in the future? Or are you just still doing R&D and trying to perfect everything we got on the market right now?
Well, we've recently launched some new product. We're still pushing the envelope. I mean, it might seem as though, AMSOIL is 1972, but frankly, we're way ahead of the curve in most cases. We're launching new product at SEMA. We've got this weekend, we'll get 13 new products we're actually launching. So we're getting into different markets, but more than anything is that we take all of this stuff very seriously, and there are guys in lab coats who really care about the detail, and we're pushing the envelope and launching new products, especially for passenger car, diesel, as well as 4-stroke and 2-stroke. So we cover pretty much all of your lubricant needs, from firearms to 4-strokes and everything else. So yeah, it's a growing business.
It is. And one thing that folks at home maybe not realizing, watching, listening here at the racetrack, AMSOIL is not something you can go to AutoZone and pick up. It's not something you can go to Walmart or GC Murphy or anything like that and pick up AMSOIL. AMSOIL is a special product, and it takes special people to actually deliver you your AMSOIL products. And you can be a special person. If you're a person that believes or in the AMSOIL product, you can actually become not only a preferred customer, but you can become an AMSOIL dealer yourself.
That is correct. In fact, we're just about to launch some videos. They'll start coming out this week that talks about the dealers and their lives. So you can actually go and watch these online. And we've got a great story of a guy who came from overseas, and basically he's living the American dream. He's selling AMSOIL. He's making a serious living and doing really, really well, having fun, earning money, and selling a quality product. So it's something you can stand by. It's something you can support and believe in. But yeah, you can't get it on every corner, but the people who do have it, care about it, they can educate you about it. So highly encourage you to go to amsoil.com, of course, get locate a dealer near you, or of course you can buy it online now. So it is easier to find than one might think. If you just go to amsoil.com, it'll get you everything you need to know.
I see little signs everywhere, authorized AMSOIL dealer in front of somebody's yard or something. You just stop in there, knock on their door and say, hey. Well, Kevin, I tell you what, man, again, thanks for the continued support from AMSOIL, and welcome to the GNC Racing.
Oh, I'll be back. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man, good to have you here.
Take care. Thanks.
Hey, Rodney, if I could jump in real quick. I'm down here at the Johnny Campbell Racing down here, JCR, talking about Austin Lee, man, out in front in the XC2 right now. What's going through the crew's head right now?
I kind of wish he would have stretched it out when all those guys were battling behind him, but he looks real comfortable coming through the pits. He's having fun, it looks like, and that's all he needs to do is just stay loose, keep charging. I know he's got only like 2-second lead, but
looks like Mikey might have went down.
I was struggling with that myself. I tried to break in on you guys a few times, and all I got was dead air. So apparently that particular microphone is above my pay grade.
Well, I've got the answer right here.
All right, perfect. Well, maybe he'll get back here and get that thing fixed up, and we'll get those updates. But
well, Johnny, I tell you what, we have had an amazing year here in GNCC. You look back on it, Johnny, you talk about the highlights. There are so many things that come to mind. But, there are what we like to call the top moments of GNCC. And we had an opportunity coming into this race before the Ironman even. There might even be a top moment that is produced here this weekend. But, of course, up until through round 12, we have our top moments in GNCC racing. And here's what they look like. Well, number 5, as we begin this, is the fact that the all-new FMF XC3 class and Jason Thomas winning a 3rd championship title in GNCC in as many about as many classes. Actually, I think he got 2 in the XC2 Pro-Am class, but there it is, Jason Thomas, an amazing decade of racing that he afforded us, and comes away with a championship and calls it retirement. The other might be the fact that we had a visitor coming in from the northeast there, out of Connecticut area, and of course we're talking about Josh Toth. Josh came in on board, actually has Ricky Russell winning the snowshoe GNCC. And then Josh Toth actually ended up finishing second overall. And here's where we go to the third top moment of GNCC. It does involve Ricky Russell there at snowshoe, and it was that right there that win. So look at that. You got 2 of the top NFAB and Pro Yamaha riders on there, and Josh Toth from the XC2 nearly won that one. Ricky took the win. And this was the season opening win by a young man that many people counted out over 2 seasons ago, as he takes the first win of 2017 and did it with quite a bit of authority, and has been a major force plus for several races coming into that. Always looking forward to seeing Stu Baylor take to the racetrack. And our top moment of 2017, as we take a look back, is going to be the 264 of Ryan Sykes. He's been a part of our GNCC Racing Nation now for the past several years, and finally was able to take his first ever overall GNCC win. He was the first American to ever win an ISDE overall, and the win in Masontown, West Virginia really kind of sealed things up for us. This is the kind of things that we're really struggling with out there, and that is Rob Brown, aka Moto Pro, that we're watching on this hill climb out there. Obviously, his bike is at the top of the hill. He must have launched it and fell back down, and he's trying to make his way back up, Johnny Gallagher. That is...
I'll tell you what, Rodney, that really shows just how steep that hill really is. I mean, there you go. You see these guys, it kind of looks like, oh, they're pretty easy to get up there, right?
Yep.
Well, there was a guy that couldn't even climb it, and they are shooting up. Look at that. Those guys are getting up. Oh, we got one coming back down, but they grabbed his bike. They stopped him at the top there. They were able to get him stopped from tumbling all the way back down. Rodney, this is what GNCC Racing is all about right here.
It is.
Ironman Hill, the last round of the year. You know, we've got the top 5 moments that we just went over, and another one of those moments could be happening right now, right here on Ironman Hill.
I believe you're right, as the human chains of the Ironman fans have come out in full force here. Once again, as again, 2,398 entries, or 98 entries, just under the 2,400 mark, believe it or not. And wow, another great event here at our off-road Festival Motorsports, as we're joined in booth now by Steffi Bow, former women's motocross champion, and I'll tell you now, Fantic bike representative. Steffi, welcome to GNCC Racing, Hunt. It's certainly a pleasure to have you on board with us, and welcome you out here to GNCC.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a very big eye-opening for me. There is so many people over here. I would not have expected that, so it's very cool to be here.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but like yourself, and I know that you ended up having to retire because of injuries and things like that, but you know, looking at it now, man, it's really neat to see a lot of those WMX stars finding a new home here in the off-road racing world, man. I bet you kind of wish that this was available for you at one time.
I know. I mean, it makes sense, you know, like the women follow the same path of the guys too, you know, like some of the guys from motocross, they tend to come over to GNCC, and you know, we are racers, so we want to race. And for me, it was cut short because of that big injury that I had, but if I had the chance, I would have done the same.
Well, now you're still in the industry. You come with us this week. We actually were introduced to these Fantic bicycles, these pedal assist bicycles, this brand at Loretta Lynn's this summer. We, in the meantime, have been using one and demoing one here at GNCC. I love it, by the way, just got to tell you. But you guys come out here to the Ironman in full force, bringing bicycles for people to demo right here at the racetrack, huh?
Yes, I mean, pedal assist bicycles are a new technology. In Europe, it took off quite a bit, and now in the US, finally started to catch on as well. I mean, it's great for GNCC. It's great because the guys can and the girls can ride the track with the bicycle.
Yep.
And you know, like it makes you a little bit less tired because it assists you ongoing. And it's just a new way to ride. I mean, it can be a new pit bike. You know, it can be a vehicle for recovery, for motocross. You know, like you do a very big race on a Sunday, and on a Monday, on your recovery day, you can ride a pedal assist bike, because one of the things that lets you do a pedal assist bike, it keeps your heartbeat always constant. So therefore you can build stamina. So it's a new tool, and a lot of the pro riders now are starting to go into that technology to build stamina, you know, when they train. So
interesting.
It's very cool. You know, Fantic is a motorcycle company, so it's still kind of like in the family. It's a company that's been in business since 1968. It's from Italy and makes motorcycle like enduro and trial bikes, supermoto bikes. And then 3 years ago, it was decided to make also pedal assist bikes. And Fantic USA was born a year ago. And we bring in the bicycle right now in the US. Maybe in the future we'll be bringing the enduro bike and we'll be here racing in the GNCC.
That would be awesome. Would love to have Fantic on all levels, to be honest with you. Well, Steffi, thanks for bringing this to the attention. I know we started using the pedal assist bikes. You see a lot of them around, and this is a great opportunity for people to demo one. If they've never had a chance, they can stop by over there at the booth. Now, the folks watching at home on RacerTV.com and on Facebook Live and stuff like that, tell me how they can find out more about Fantic bicycles.
Yeah, Fantic USA is based in California. It's based in San Francisco. So anybody in the area is welcome to come to the office. We do demo rides often. Otherwise, you can go on the internet, and the website is fanticbicycles.com. And we have pricing and everything over there. And we're going to try to come to more and more events so people can try the bikes when we are at the events. And yeah, we are on Facebook and on Instagram, so you can find us out over there as well. And I hope, you know, like to bring this technology in the moto family, because it's my family.
Amen. Amen. Well, Steffi, I look forward to seeing more of you. I'm sure we'll see you in Daytona with the season openers.
Absolutely.
And of course, looking forward to watching Fantic grow here in the U.S. and in the GNCCs as well.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it, and definitely I'm going to see you next March. And everybody enjoy the races. It looks very good.
All righty. Thank you. Steffi Bao from Fantic Bikes here with us. Pedal assist bicycles, and of course a new training tool. They are located right here at Ironman, and you can go on to fanticbicycle.com for more information. So while we were talking with Miss Steffi here, we seen our leaders come through. It was Caleb Russell still in the #1 spot. We had Ricky Russell still in the #2 position. I believe that was Thad Duval that came through in the #3 position as well. So our leaders are starting to make their way here to the Ironman Hills. We're watching riders now try to traverse this hill climb itself, and as easy as that looks visually here on on RacerTV, you can see at the top of the hill it gets even more difficult. So Ironman Hill has certainly got its challenges for us once again. Mile #7, about the halfway point of a near 13-mile race course is what we're looking at. So about halfway through this rough and rugged racetrack that continues to get more and rough and rugged as the day wears on. They're faced with this hill climb here at Ironman Hill and mile marker #7. Now joined in the booth back with Johnny G. Gallagher and of course Steve Hatch back with us. And Steve, welcome back to the booth. Johnny, welcome back to the booth. And Steve, I know you've been out watching this track and keeping an eye on things. So real quick, what's your take on the Ironman for 2017? What you've seen so far?
Yeah, Rodney, this is an amazing place as usual, and it's one of those things that you know, everybody looks forward to the GNCC at the Ironman. It's ego dirt. The place looks amazing. I haven't been back here since '05 when I retired, so 12 years, and you know, it's amazing to see the sport grow. Amazing to see all the cool fans.
The festival that's going on.
The festival, like I heard Burleson talking to you and said it's like Woodstock for motor enthusiasts, you know. And it makes sense. The track's so good that people come. I had dinner with one of my buddies from Colorado last night, you know, and his son's racing it. So one of those things that people come from around the United States and the world to race the Ironman. So
yeah,
it's a perfect track for
our second place rider, Pascal Roschenecker, or however you say it. he comes from all around the world too. And that right there again just shows you what kind of note of riding. Ooh, look at this!
There we see we saw that earlier with Moto Fro. he was trying to climb his way up there. So the human chain's not only pulling bikes up this thing, they're pulling riders up as well today.
Mercy. Now, do you recall those types of assistance whenever you rode Steve Hatch?
You know, it happened so fast. I'm sure they were helping more. You're just so infatuated with trying to find your bike and then push it or do it. I do remember the fans being awesome, especially here and anywhere that they're trying to help. They're selling out for you, which is really amazing. And the best fans in the world. It's the real deal, and it's not like they have cleats on or anything like that. They're doing it like you guys are saying, with a human chain or holding onto a tree. I was out there this morning helping little mini kids, and we were human chaining with the big, guys like myself and parents pulling the kids up or riding their bikes up, and it's insane. It's really cool.
That is. It's a lot
They
of
have
fun.
Bush Light strength.
Bush. But yeah, wow. So your first experience since you retired at Ironman, what's it like as a spectator?
Yeah, I'm usually pretty calm at these, and it was great run. This one looks really fun to ride again. So everybody,
oh, we're getting him itchy to get back on the seat.
Did you hear that, senior AB guys? You're in big trouble. Steve Hatch coming to put a whooping on you next year. I heard it, full-time championship run.
Man, see, these are how rumors get started,
That is
right?
exactly, yeah.
Rodney's the king of that. You can take one little thing and just, he's the hype man. That's why they pay him the big bucks.
So Steve Hatch will return to racing next year in the senior class. Wow, that is an amazing bit of news that we've just heard.
Steve Hatch,
it's possible anyway.
Steve Hatch aboard a factory, and oh, here we go. Speaking of factory riders, Caleb Russell out there. This is a guy who knows a little thing or two about championships. He's already locked up this one, and look at that launching up into the mulch pile. He figured the smoothest way through there was just to go ahead and not touch it.
Looked like he was trying to do a fender kisser there as he leaned over the bar.
And I think, was that Ricky Russell still in the second place spot there? And now 989, Thad Duvall is on the charge. We saw early it was Ricky Russell and Caleb Russell who had broken away, and I saw on on Thad Duvall's pit board, it said, "You are faster." They were letting him know he's reeling those boys in, and that he is. You can see on screen there.
Well, let's look at lap times. Let's go back and look at lap times just to see if this analogy. Go ahead, Mikey.
Hey, guys, got a quick update for you here. I'm down here in the beta pits. Nick Davis is, I think he's going to be done for the day. The bike is parked, and I caught him right before he walked back into the trailer. He said he had a nasty spill out there. He's pretty shaken up, but I think that's going to do it for Nick Davis here on the beta machine.
Man, that's a heartbreaker for sure. Just saw Nick was riding a good, strong top 10 there in the XC2 class. He just got back from an injury, so unfortunate for him. Hopefully it's the bike and not him that got destroyed. There's Trevor Bollinger making his way through now. He is your fifth place ride, still behind Ryan Sipes there, but at least that last check. But we were talking there just a moment ago about lap times, and is Thad Duvall faster than Caleb Russell and Ricky Russell? According to timing and scoring on lap number 2, a 28:10 for Caleb Russell, a 28:13 for Ricky Russell, and a 28:04 for Thad Duvall. So he was 6 seconds faster than Caleb Russell and about 9 seconds faster than Ricky Russell. So yes, Thad Duvall is the fastest, or was the fastest rider on the track there on lap number 2. So we'll see how that translates here in lap number 3 as these riders are inching their way toward the finish line. We're about 2.5 minutes out before we expect to see them come through the finish line marker, but we're going to get a chance to see them back there at Twin Hills. We're going to get a chance to see them on the moto track and then at the finish line.
Look at that battle we just saw on screen. Wheel to wheel to wheel to wheel. It was Josh Strang. Well, I'm wrong on the order here. I believe it was Baylor, Ashburn, and Strang all wheel to wheel to wheel to wheel. And those guys are just absolutely duking it out. There was elbows flying. Our feed gave up there, but nonetheless, it was fun to watch while it lasted. And those of you watching it at home, that's keep watching that one, because none of those guys are going to give an inch. They're going to push each other, and who knows? Maybe they'll push themselves a little bit up closer to the front.
Yeah, you know what, Johnny, with how good the traction is, as you can attest to yesterday racing it, one of the things is I was telling some of my riders today that you can actually see a line and actually go to that line, where a lot of times it's so slippery, where this being Ego Dirt, it's pretty cool that you can race that close and still not get
Is that
roosted.
Ego Dirt with a G, right?
Yep, E-G-O-O-O, Ego Dirt.
An extra couple O's for an extra couple goes.
Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, you know, it really is. The traction here is great. It's crazy how this Indiana dirt just kind of absorbs the moisture. There's obviously some slick spots out there where those quad tards polished it off yesterday, but you know, other than that, it's the parts that they didn't mess up. Especially, man, I'll tell you what, those fields, those bean fields, are just crazy how much traction there is in those. You know, you can be ripping along at 60 mile an hour drifting through a corner on a quad, and all of a sudden the bike will just hook and want to carry the front wheel. And there is Caleb Russell working his way to the Twin Hill. He's heading up there, and he's got a lead but right on his rear wheel, or just a couple seconds back, is the 212 of Ricky Russell there. Oh, Ricky Russell misses the line and has to kind of improvise there on the fly.
We'll see if that's going to pay dividends for him or not. I've heard that often from a couple of different people, they felt that the right line was faster for them. I don't know if it's going to work out that way or not. It looks like the far right side line as well for the 989 machine of Thad Duvall. So riders all picking and choosing different lines. A lot of it could be who's in the line that they're wanting to go up, but these guys don't like to follow a lot of people, especially whenever they're this tight. There's Caleb Russell on the moto track, and there is Ricky Russell on the moto track as he doubles up, and they are winding their way around these final few turns on famous Ironman moto racecross. And right now there is, wow, Thad Duvall has really closed that gap up even more. He might even be faster than what he was a lap ago. I think that gap is closed between he and Ricky Russell even more as Caleb Russell begins to make his way into the Amsoil chicanes in this finish line region. Look at that, man. I mean, just poetry in motion as he is writing his own chapter in history as far as GNCC is concerned. Caleb not only gets a page in history, but I think he gets a chapter, maybe even a couple of chapters at the way he's been riding. If you go back to his youth ranks, his amateur ranks, and to where he is now, man, I mean, this kid has got a true story as far as GNCC is concerned.
Yeah, you know, he's definitely on rails right now, riding well. Ricky Russell, I'm really impressed that he's been able to hang with Caleb now for 3 complete laps. I mean, it's been, Ricky's obviously got speed, he's won a race, and he's been up there in podium contention, but it seems when Caleb Russell starts pushing, the only one so far this year that's really been able to have anything for him was Thad Duvall. Well, today, Thad's been able to close up that gap a little bit, but Ricky Russell's been smack dab in the middle of them, or actually for most of this race, leading. There we see Trevor Bollinger working his way around that Ironman MX track, and oh, that's a lapped rider behind him. But, you know, these guys, all of them really have a good flow and a good style on that moto track.
Mikey Waynes, I think, might have a report for us, it sounds like.
I do. I'm back in JCR. I got the mic working finally, so I'm here with Eric. Austin Lee just came through, had a great pit stop, but I believe he's back in third now, but it's a pretty darn close one.
Yeah, and I think Lane had to pit, so we might get right back past him and be in second. He's running strong. We gave him a little Mountain Dew to pick him up, you know. We got to get him pushing forward and yelling at him, getting him all hyped up so he can keep on pushing and stay up there in the front.
All right, thanks, Eric. That's it from the JCR pits down here, guys.
Woohoo! Mountain Dew! Steve, is that a part of your training regimen, man?
No,
you
never heard of that one.
You know what? When I think of Steve Hatch in your professional days, I think of Pedialyte. I've seen you walking around with a bottle of Pedialyte all the time, man. Is that what you teach your students? Because I know you got a lot of them out here.
Yeah, not anymore. So that used to be the thing back before they had like Hammer Nutrition and all of the scratch and different electrolyte replacements. Back then we heard about it, and it was obviously for replacing electrolytes, which is what you sweat out when you're racing. So we used it back then. Now they have better products. Hammer Nutrition has a Heed. Scratch makes some. All the top companies make an electrolyte replacement. So you don't have to, thankfully, drink the Pedialyte. But
by the gallon.
By the gallon, yeah. But the interesting thing, too, is obviously the Caleb and the great race up front. But, you know, this is such a sport that's pretty cool. And the aspect of it is, compared to, like, Supercross or different ones, it's only the pros out there. Where I've got a lot of amateur riders that I actually train. And the neat thing about it is they're on the same track with Caleb Russell.
Right.
We compare lap times. We see how they are with their heart rates. We do a ton of stuff that's really unique. So obviously there are a bunch of pros, but the majority of the racers out here are amateurs that are wanting to be the next Caleb Russell. So
yeah, I mean, there's probably I think roughly 400 riders out there in this afternoon race, if I had heard correctly, or just shy of. You know, and you've got basically, I think probably 15, give or take, in that XC1 Pro class. And
18 today.
18. So 18 riders there, and another 20 some odd-ish in the XC2, and all the rest are amateur riders. So, you know, you've got less than 40 riders out there that are, purebred pro riders. So the amateurs are the backbone of the sport, and 908 of them this morning in that morning amateur race. And like we said, another however many classes out there today. You got, how are you guys doing out there so far today?
They're doing really good. Alex Teagarden's rocking. He's in the lead, so if he does good and finishes with a win today, should win the championship in the 250A, which would be awesome. A lot of the other riders are doing really good, and it's neat to see, as you guys know, it's all about trying to make sure, the guys are ready mentally, physically, nutrition, hydration, everything that we're talking about. It's the same thing from a Caleb Russell to, the amateurs back there.
Well, and you see on screen there the 258 point standings. There you go. You're talking about Alex Teagarden doing well. He's got to pull off that win today or do well to take that points lead away from Jonathan Johnson and also Cody Barnes there. And I believe those are the three guys that are also battling over our overall amateur position. Any one of the three of them, depending on how they finish today, can still lock that up. Look at that shot there while we're talking about amateurs. Folks, if you've ever raced off-road, I promise you, if you've never been to Ironman GNCC, you've never seen anything like this. No, that's not a NASCAR race. No, that's not a rock concert. That is GNCC racing, and that is right now we're looking at a live shot of what's going on out here
Crawford
today.
stock.
Crawford stock.
I like it. Yep, that's sign that one, Rodney. That's yours.
Absolutely phenomenal, the amount of people here.
Welcome to Crawford stock.
And this is just part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you would take this shot up even higher, you would see it spans out all to the fields all around it. Absolutely crazy. Awesome. Certain type of magic, a certain formula that draws not only riders but spectators alike here to this Crawfordsville GNCC, the Ironman, named after Bob Sloan. A great GNCC rider who raced both motorcycles and ATVs back in the day, and tragically taken away from us a little too soon. But boy, I guess you could say his legacy sure lives on.
Oh, it certainly does, and I tell you, it does through. And probably the spirit at which Bob raced in and what he brought to GNCC is what we see a lot of the spirits of here today in a lot of our competitors.
Sorry, Rodney, that cringe was one of our XC2 riders. I believe it was Ryder Lafferty. Got all kinds of crossed up on that step up coming into the corner. And when he landed, I thought he was going to end up getting bucked clear to whatever the next county east of here would be.
So just to interject real quick, you guys may not know this guy, NBA legend, pacer legend, Rick Smits is in house with us.
Rick who?
Oh, wow. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah.
I don't think Rick's ever raced a GNCC in his life.
So I talked to him about it, and he said he's back in town. He moved to Arizona, and he said, I just happened to be back moving some stuff, so I stopped by, and I thought, well, you listen, man, 13-year-old me is losing my mind right now meeting you, so I got to get a picture. So if you see a real tall guy walking around, that's Indiana pacer legend Rick Smits.
I love watching him ride. He used to chase the championship a few years ago, and you could always tell Rick Smits because it was like somebody was sitting on somebody's shoulders riding around the racetrack is what it looked like.
The best part about it was you didn't even have to see him to know he was here. You could just see his dirt bike because he was the only guy I've ever seen in the history of GNCC racing or in any type of racing that ran like a +8 seat. He had this seat that was built up extra tall. I mean, they run some desert foam. Steve, you can, some guys have run some different stuff, but his seat was insane. It was, and here we see on screen Thad Duvall trying to close up that gap. It looks like he's made a little bit of inroads towards Ricky Russell maybe. We'll have to see exactly what that split is when we see him next on screen. Yeah, 9 seconds. So he's continues to close that gap. But yeah, Rick Smits here today, a rider another one of those amateur riders who's been out here a number of times. Might have been a pro on the court, but here at GNCC Racing, chasing championships, he did so in the amateur classes, which we have so many of out there. And these are all the guys you're seeing on screen now coming by. These guys are all fighting for wins and pride and championships in their own right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Chelsea, but I believe this is a 5-lap race, if I'm not mistaken, that we're gearing up for. So a 5-lap race is what we're looking at right now. About 2.5, 3 laps in now for our pro riders. And I want to take a minute to focus a little bit on some of the amateur classes that we have here. Like we said, over 300 amateur riders on the racetrack out there right now. We had over 900 earlier this morning, another 200 youth riders. So far we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of about 1,600 riders, competitors today alone. 2,398, I think, was the final total number that Tim Cotter gave us over on the start. Just a few riders short of 2,400. Yeah, we should have signed up is what we should have done. It just lacks us. Yeah, you did sign up, Johnny.
You're in already.
Anyway, taking a look at some of these other classes, one class I want to take a look at is our senior 840+ class. A lot of these guys have been racing this series for a long time. One of those including the point leader in that class, Sean Remington. But Rick Burton right now to Westville, Indiana, is actually leading this class after 2 laps of racing in that division. They're going to do it in about 20 minutes or so. But Shotgun Sean Remington out of Salem, Pennsylvania, he's a part of the Infab Am Pro Yamaha efforts over there in the 51 machine.
and he is currently running in second place. Jeffrey Odell, the 755 from Woodford, Vermont, is running third. Patrick Patterson out of Dayton, Ohio is fourth. Willis West, the 447 from Morgantown, West Virginia, rounds out your top 5. And that is senior 840 plus class. As we go next, we're going to take a look at Jackson Linkhouse out of Sadie Daisy, Tennessee. He's your Open B bike leader after the first 2 laps of racing. A 56-second lead now over Dakota Harrison, the 515 machine. Taking a look at that, wow, looks like Linkhouse is on a mission today. Well, 745, Anthony Herring out of Waverly, West Virginia, hometown of Adam McGill, the Gator, is third place. 456, Cody Stevens out of New Cumberland, West Virginia, and fourth. And the 502 of Jacob Barnes from New Cumberland, West Virginia, rounds out your top 5 in that Open B bike class. As we take a look next at 250B class, Michael DeLosa out of Gillette, Pennsylvania, with a near 46-second lead over the 462 Blake Kimmery out of Charlotte, North Carolina. 486 of Langdon Feltner out of North Vernon, Indiana, a minute 15 seconds back in third. Then in fourth place, the 547 of Austin Williams from Trafalgar, Indiana, running out the top 5. Then the 366 of Caleb Cloyd. He's out of Litchfield, Illinois. And with that, so as we take a look at that 250B class, the standings right now, and not only the standings right now on the racetrack, but let's take a look at the point standings as well. That's one somewhat close, but it looks like the Côte d'Or may actually have this one locked up as far as the series championship is concerned coming into this one. But there is still a lot of position jockeying going on for that second, third, and fourth place positions, as we see only a handful of points separating those 3 riders there. Michael DeLosa, who is currently leading out there, he has certainly put himself in a position to maintain at least the second place overall position as far as the championship is concerned, with Langdon Feltner, who is third, but Austin Williams in fourth, Caleb Cloyd in fifth. Now, where is Chase Sweda in this class? Chase may have elected, let's see, there's more than 20 riders. He may have had some problems or elected to sit this one out. I don't see Chase checking in for a lap complete just yet, so tough break there for him. And so just, oh no, there he is. He's in 9th place, actually. Sorry, Chase, Chase fans anyway, I overlooked him. He's currently running in 9th place, so he should be able to hang on to that top 5 position. But I tell you, Michael DeLosa is the one that's on the mission, it looks like, here to maintain that second place position. He only had a 1-point lead over that third place position holder in points. So that one's going to be a one that we might want to watch a little closer and keep an eye on. Do you have any riders in that 250B class by any chance, Steve?
I do, actually. Mike DeLosa that you're talking about.
Really?
He worked with him some before on some lessons and different stuff. Great kid and real fast, so it's good to see him all
so
up in
it's
there.
good to see the fruits of your labor paying off.
Yeah,
here, right?
absolutely, and it's neat over the years and doing tons, obviously, with the clinics and coaching and everything like that. Probably 200 or 300 riders here that have worked with some aspect or one way or another, either on a clinic or a coaching, and it's real cool to come back and see everybody get their goals and dreams. You know?
That does have to make you feel like they got their money's worth. You know what I mean? Out of the schools, and they paid attention. That's another thing that's gonna make you feel good.
Absolutely.
And you're still right. That's another thing that's good. Well, 200B classes, we take a look at this one. Benjamin Wright out of Gillette, Pennsylvania.
He's
as we
my
told
guy
you.
too.
Is he really? Wow, you got another leader out there. 155, Sean Myers out of Reimersburg, PA, a minute 36 seconds down. He's not even leading. He's leading convincingly right now. Chase Colville, the 318 from West Sunbury, Pennsylvania, is third. Fourth place, the 453 of Aiden Pogson out of Mount Olca, North Carolina. And rounding out the top 5, Brandon Keegan from Coal Center, Pennsylvania, on board the number 864. Next up, Colton Kinsler out of Delphi, Indiana. That's a name that's not familiar with us here in the GNCC. I think he is an IXCR guy. This is the 4-stroke B lights class we're taking a look at, but he's got a 4-minute and 50-second lead over second place, Joe Spivey. Wow.
Wow, that's a good lead there.
That is an impressive lead.
I don't know the name, but sounds like we will be.
I know.
If he keeps racing.
Yeah, I imagine with a performance like this today, he's going to want to hit all the GNCCs. Colton Kinsler, Delphi, Indiana is where he's from. Joe Spivey out of Collinsville, North Carolina is second. 171, Tucker Hanks out of Memphis, Tennessee. Fourth place, 550, Max Lee from Laguna Beach, California.
Is that Maxley? That's Troy Lee's son, right?
Yes,
Yeah, that's
yep,
Troy
you're
Lee.
right.
Troy Lee Design's son out there. Troy Lee actually raced earlier today, by the way. So I mean, all the stars are coming out today. Jacob Taylor, the 934 right now out of Rossville, Indiana. He rounds out the top 5 there in that 4-stroke B lights class. As we move next, we see that our next class that we take a look at is going to be. I think this computer is like me. It's old and it's cold and it's moving slow.
Hey, just to jump in real quick, Rodney, Troy Lee, I talked to him after his race. We're good buddies, go way back, and he said he had a ball, and he definitely wants to try to come back next year. So that's
really?
pretty cool.
More,
yeah.
Ironman or more GNCC?
I know the Ironman. I didn't ask him. He still had mud in his teeth.
I'm always like, you're coming back for the whole year.
Right, exactly.
I get super excited. I guess.
I see you. You got me out of retirement somehow to go home and start running and doing
out of retirement today.
Yep.
You better start training.
I know. No kidding.
I love it, man. But you do, man. You need to come back and do it.
That would be cool. I still train a lot too, of course, and ride a lot. So
well, I'm looking forward to seeing you maybe try a couple races, if nothing else. Hey, Joe Bard leading the BET B30 Plus class. You can't ride this class right here, though. He's out of Beloit, Wisconsin. 386, Kyle Ulvey out of Sterling, Illinois. 35 seconds back in second. Jordan Overfield, 609 from Morgantown, West Virginia. Only 13 seconds off that pace. And then Sean Royal, the 408 from Sugar Grove, North Carolina, rounds out 4th place. Kevin Rammer from Noonan, Georgia, rounds out the top 5 there in the BET B30 Plus class. It should be a pretty good battle that's shaping up here. We see Ulvey, the 2nd place rider. He's 35 seconds behind, but he turned a 35-second faster lap time last time around. So in theory, those guys should be wheel to wheel when they check in about 30 minutes. They actually just checked in a few moments ago, well, about 10 minutes ago. But they should, in theory, be wheel to wheel when next we see those riders BET B in that BET B30 Plus class. Senior B40 Plus class, Kelly Laborde, the 676 from Tampa, Florida. 2-minute, 13-second lead over the 434 of Mark Proper from Guys Mill, Pennsylvania. 931, Darren Darmos out of Amherst, Ohio is 3rd. Gregory Richardson from Verona, Pennsylvania, the 944 in 4th. And Leon Whittaker out of Warren, Ohio, rounds out your top 5 in that one as the Senior B40 Plus class rolls on. They're due in about 28 minutes for their next lap complete. And we've got, do we have 2 Pascal? Oh, no, this is XC2, and I did not see this, but this ought to excite a lot of folks. At the end of lap 3, Pascal has moved into the #1 position of XC2. That's going to be interesting. I want to check the overall here in just a few moments. Last we checked, the XC2 hadn't checked in yet, but now Austin Lee in 2nd, Josh Choate in the #3 spot, Lane Michael is 4th, Craig DeLong in 5th, 6th place Ben Kelly, Evan Smith in 7th, Mike Witkowski, who got the whole shot in 8th, 9th place Cole Madison, Ryder Lafferty, rounding out your top 10 in that. So Pascal is now the leader out of Austria in the XC2 250 Pro class. XC3, the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class, Jack Edmondson, the 118, is leading that one out of the UK. Talk to him. You know, you were wondering, will he be back to try it again next year? Will somebody dangle the carrot to try to keep him over here? Somebody dangled a carrot over in Europe to keep him in Europe. So he says he will try to be back for a couple rounds, specifically right here at Ironman GNCC next year. But it looks like this might be a farewell ride, at least for a little while, for Jack Edmondson. But Chris Vendetti, another rider that we watched in the beginning of the season, had some good breakthrough rides and had some not so good breakthrough rides. It's kind of an up and down season. Yeah, basically ran his 250 to death, as he said. He says he couldn't ride it anymore, so he drug his 125 out, an old 125, and is riding the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. So Chris Vendetti doing great here in 2nd place. Just got a report that Caleb Russell still in the lead at Ironman Hill at mile marker number 7, and that's good news for Caleb Russell fans and those that are looking and hoping to see him break that record today, set that new all-time wins record on 2 wheels. Hunter North, the 747, running 3rd out of Plantation, Florida in this FMF XC3 125 class. Matthew Sims, 670, and 4th out of Greencastle, Indiana. And Taylor Jones rounds out your top 5. Taylor, the WXC class. Thad Duvall now in 2nd place. We're getting reports from the Ironman Hill, and also Ricky Russell dropping back to 3rd, but he's not relinquishing that 2nd place position so easily from what the track crew is telling us right now. So we got a heated battle going on for 2nd. All the while, Thad Duvall seeming to be the fastest rider on the racetrack after that first lap of racing. So we're going to keep an eye and an ear out on the racing action that's taking place. We may see Thad make that challenge before it's all said and done. The big question is, what about hour number 3? We're about 15 minutes away from that, and that's one thing that he was concerned about because he doesn't have the bike fitness that he had. He's missed 3 races and lost a lot of seat time in training and things like that. But like I said, adrenaline and just know-how, will, and want might afford Thad Duvall an opportunity to try and take the win today.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rodney. I saw him obviously off the start, and he had a terrible start, so he was way back. So obviously he's using some energy and flowing through all the guys and all the way up to, not that far behind Caleb. So I agree. I think he's obviously hungry. He's obviously motivated. He's missed the last couple, not on his choice. And one of those things that motivation's a huge factor in a 3-hour GNCC, and you better have it. You better want it more than life itself, as far as really pushing and really digging deep. Where you want to quit about the 1 hour mark, and you got to go fast for 3.
And I think that Thad wants to leave an impression on Caleb, kind of like the summer break thing. Now I know that kind of got all wilded out and everything, but he left that summer break ahead of Caleb Russell. And that left some thought in his mind, but coming back, he hasn't had a chance to race with Thad since that time. So if he beats him again at the end of the season and comes from behind to chase him down and beat him, talk about the head games for the next few months until we roll back into the 2018 season. Man, that could be a lot to think about.
Agree 100%. I think it's one of those things. Momentum's everything, and although we know Caleb, won the championship, I think there's always that question. And I know Caleb didn't want it that way anyway. He wants to race the whole time.
Right.
But that being said, it definitely seems like momentum and the mental confidence is changing to a certain degree, and Thad's definitely coming out the best I've ever seen him ride in 10 years.
Yeah, and he's got 2 more years to ride with the Factory Husqvarna team, so he's found the home. He's a totally different person. He knows it, you know it, I know it, everybody knows it, and knows Thad Duvall. The next few years are going to be pretty exciting over there for sure. As we check the excitement in the Open A class right now, guys, it is Levi Keller, the 851 out of Bainbridge, Ohio, with a 3-minute 18-second lead now over the 27 of Brady Myers from Walker, West Virginia. 712 Bryce Costa from Sorrento, Florida, running in third. 300 Ben Parsons from Orlando, Florida, is fourth. And 552 Tyler Vore from Chesterton, Indiana, rounds out the top 5 in this Open A class. Let me guess, Levi Keller's one? I know that. He's probably not. Yeah. Is he one of your riders?
No, Ben Parsons is one of my guys. So we're getting there. We just started towards next year already.
Jonathan T. Johnson from Landrum, South Carolina, leading that 258 class. Cody Barnes, Alex Teagarden, Jesse Ansley, Matthew Kiefer. That's your top 5 right now in the 258 class. And I got to say, we have said those names so many times, talking about top amateur positions. They were battling in contention so many times this year, and that's the way the 258 class is here in this Ironman after 3 laps of racing. Johnson out front, Cody Barnes about 12 seconds back in second, Alex Teagarden only 9.5 seconds back in third, Jesse Ansley. Now there's where the big break is, 1 minute and 37 seconds back to Ansley, but we've watched Ansley really grow a lot in this class, I think, here in 2017, and I think he could be a force to be reckoned with. Matthew Kiefer, the 570, is only 22 seconds now behind Jesse Ansley in that 258 class. Next class, Brody Johnson, really taking it to it. Another rider out of Landrum, South Carolina. He just completed his 3rd lap. He had a 35-second lead over the 294 of Anthony Pogreba. And Pogreba is out of Cushing, Minnesota, the 294 machine. We'll see whether or not, we'll try to keep an eye on this, but 35 seconds was what the gap was. We'll see if it's within that range or close to that range, as we'll be here for just a couple of seconds. But 357, Johnny Manera from Millville, New Jersey, is 3rd. Nathan Davis, number 463 from Vail, North Carolina, is in 4th place position. He's only 14 seconds behind Manera for that 3rd place spot. Zachary Davidson, 5.8 seconds from Iron Station, North Carolina. And correct me if I'm wrong, is he not the youth national champion here for 2017, or was he vying for it, Zachary Davidson?
Zachary Davidson, yes, correct. Our youth national champion.
Well,
correct.
Here he is making his waves in the 200A class right now as he is running top 5. So good to see him make that step up to the bigger bike like that, from the big wheel to the 200. So way to go, Zachary Davidson, 2017 youth national champion. 4-stroke A lights class, Nick O'Brien out of Chillicothe, Ohio,
the Ohio's first capital and the home of Tecumseh, the famous Indian, believe it or not, and Blue Jacket. Anyway, if you study history, if you study history, you know anything about that. I know because I'm from that area, and I studied it because of that. But anyway, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. O'Brien is ahead of Tyler Braniff. I wonder if he's riding with the spirit of Tecumseh today. There is Caleb Russell in the mulch pile, the FMF PowerPoint, as we like to call it, still maintaining the lead. The big question is Thad Duvall still maintaining second place, and how much time has he been able to chip away over the lead of Caleb? It looks like there's not, well, I don't know. There comes Thad now, and though he may be about 15 or so seconds behind Caleb Russell, he is still closer than he was to Caleb, I think, a lap ago. The tail of the tape will be coming here in just a couple moments as these riders will be checking through the finish line. Real quick, let's check in with another class here. In our amateurs, John Cunningham is leading Dustin Ulrich right now by 1:20 in the junior AB class. Andrew Boggs is third place on the 44 from Masontown, West Virginia. How about Lucas Towery, the 544 from Lattimore, North Carolina, son of Ricky Towery, running in fourth, and Travis Sewell, the 556 out of Westville, Indiana, rounding out your top 5 in the junior AB 25-plus class. And I believe we have our vet class to take a look at next. The vet A, Sam Forrester, leading Jesse Robinson. Welcome back, Jesse. And there was less than a second that separated those two when they came through. Looks like Forrester just passed Robinson. Joe Marsh, the number 38, is third. Nathan Allring in fourth. And Anthony Utley rounding out your top 5 in vet A 30-plus class racing. And I believe, folks, that is our look at all of those amateur class top 5s that we're taking a look at. And right now we are heading back up to see how this finish line is going to work out and the overall positions. By the way, if you're wondering about Pascal, he is 9th place overall, just ahead of Austin Lee, who dropped to 10th place at last check, 3.2 seconds separated. And the World Enduro rider seems to be doing quite well here, at least in the first 2 hours. He told me hour 3, he specifically said, I'm worried about hour 3. Didn't necessarily use the word worried, but that's what it translated into.
He's a smart man by the sounds of him already. I like him. He's smart enough not to be overly optimistic.
There's Grant Baylor in the pits as he heads out of that Rocky Mountain ATV MCKR4 arrive and ride pit stop, and he 2 rides. It's kind of an up and down season. Yeah, basically ran his 250 to death, as he said. He says he couldn't ride it anymore, so he drug his 125 out, an old 125, and is riding the FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. So Chris Vendetti doing great here in second place. Just got a report that Caleb Russell still in the lead at Ironman Hill at mile marker number 7, and that's good news for Caleb Russell fans and those that are looking and hoping to see him break that record today, set that new all-time wins record on 2 wheels. Hunter Newer, the 747, running third out of Plantation, Florida, in this FMF XC3 125 class. Matthew Sims, 670, and fourth out of Greencastle, Indiana. And Taylor Jones rounds out your top 5. Taylor, the WXC class. Thad Duvall now in second place. We're getting reports from the Ironman Hill, and also Ricky Russell dropping back to third, but he's not relinquishing that second place position so easily from what the track crew is telling us right now. So we got a heated battle going on for second. All the while, Thad Duvall seeming to be the fastest rider on the racetrack after that first lap of racing. So we're going to keep an eye and an ear out on the racing action that's taking place. We may see Thad make that challenge before it's all said and done. The big question is, what about hour number 3? We're about 15 minutes away from that, and that's one thing that he was concerned about because he doesn't have the bike fitness that he had. He's missed 3 races and lost a lot of seat time in training and things like that. But like I said, adrenaline and just know-how, will, and want might afford Thad Duvall an opportunity to try and take the win today.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rodney. I saw him obviously off the start, and he had a terrible start, so he was way back. So obviously he's using some energy and flowing through all the guys and all the way up to, not that far behind Caleb. So I agree. I think he's obviously hungry. He's obviously motivated. He's missed the last couple, not on his choice. And one of those things that motivation's a huge factor in a 3-hour GNCC. And you better have it. You better want it more than life itself as far as really pushing and really digging deep where you want to quit about the 1 hour mark and you got to go fast for 3.
And I think that Thad wants to leave an impression on
on Caleb.
Absolutely.
Kind of like the summer break thing. Now, I know that kind of got all wilded out and everything, but he left that summer break ahead of Caleb Russell. And that left some thought in his mind, but coming back, he hasn't had a chance to race with Thad since that time. So if he beats him again at the end of the season and comes from behind to chase him down and beat him, talk about the head games for the next few months until we roll back into the 2018 season. Man, that could be a lot to think about.
Agree 100%. I think it's one of those things. Momentum's everything, and although we know Caleb, won the championship, I think there's always that question. And I know Caleb didn't want it that way anyway. He wants to race the whole time.
Right.
But that being said, it definitely seems like momentum and the mental confidence is changing to a certain degree, and Thad's definitely coming out the best I've ever seen him ride in 10 years.
Yeah, and he's got a two more years to ride with the Factory Husqvarna team, so he's found the home. He's a totally different person. He knows it. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it and knows Thad Duvall. The next few years are going to be pretty exciting over there for sure. As we check the excitement in the Open A class right now, guys, it is Levi Keller, the 851 out of Bainbridge, Ohio, with a 3-minute 18-second lead now over the 27 of Brady Myers from Walker, West Virginia. 712 Bryce Costa from Sorrento, Florida, running in third. 300 Ben Parsons from Orlando, Florida, is fourth. And 552 Tyler Vore from Chesterton, Indiana, rounds out the top 5 in this Open A class. Let me guess, Levi Keller's one. I know that he's probably not.
Yeah.
Is he one of your riders?
No, Ben Parsons is one of my guys. So we're getting there. We just started towards next year already.
Jonathan T. Johnson from Landrum, South Carolina, leading that 258 class. Cody Barnes, Alex Teagarden, Jesse Ansley, Matthew Kiefer. That's your top 5 right now in the 258 class. And I got to say, we have said those names so many times, talking about top amateur positions. They were battling in contention so many times this year, and that's the way the 258 class is here in this Ironman after 3 laps of racing. Johnson out front, Cody Barnes about 12 seconds back in second, Alex Teagarden only 9.5 seconds back in third, Jesse Ansley. Now there's where the big break is, 1 minute and 37 seconds back to Ansley, but we've watched Ansley really grow a lot in this class, I think, here in 2017, and I think he could be a force to be reckoned with. Matthew Kiefer, the 570, is only 22 seconds now behind Jesse Ansley in that 258 class. Next class, Brody Johnson, really taking it to it. Another rider out of Landrum, South Carolina. He just completed his 3rd lap. He had a 35-second lead over the 294 of Anthony Pogreba. And Pogreba is out of Cushing, Minnesota, the 294 machine. We'll see whether or not, we'll try to keep an eye on this, but 35 seconds was what the gap was. We'll see if it's within that range or close to that range, as we'll be here for just a couple of seconds. But 357, Johnny Manera from Millville, New Jersey, is 3rd. Nathan Davis, number 463 from Vail, North Carolina, is in 4th place position. He's only 14 seconds behind Manera for that 3rd place spot. Zachary Davidson, 5.8 seconds from Iron Station, North Carolina. And correct me if I'm wrong, is he not the youth national champion here for 2017, or was he vying for it, Zachary Davidson?
Zachary Davidson, yes, correct. Our youth national champion.
Well,
correct.
Here he is making his waves in the 200A class right now as he is running top 5. So good to see him make that step up to the bigger bike like that, from the big wheel to the 200. So way to go, Zachary Davidson, 2017 youth national champion. 4-stroke A lights class, Nick O'Brien out of Chillicothe, Ohio. The Ohio's first capital and home of Tecumseh, the famous Indian, believe it or not, and Blue Jacket. Anyway, if you study history, you know anything about that. I know because I'm from that area, and I studied it because of that. But anyway, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. O'Brien is ahead of Tyler Braniff. I wonder if he's riding with the spirit of Tecumseh today. There is Caleb Russell in the mulch pile, the FMF PowerPoint, as we like to call it, still maintaining the lead. The big question is Thad Duvall still maintaining 2nd place, and how much time has he been able to chip away over the lead of Caleb? It looks like there's not, well, I don't know. There comes Thad now, and though he may be about 15 or so seconds behind Caleb Russell, he is still closer than he was to Caleb, I think, a lap ago. The tail of the tape will be coming here in just a couple moments as these riders will be checking through the finish line. Real quick, let's check in with another class here.
In our amateurs, Sean Cunningham is leading Dustin Ulrich right now by 1:20 in the junior AB class. Andrew Boggs is third place on the 44 from Masontown, West Virginia. How about Lucas Towery, the 544 from Lattimore, North Carolina, son of Ricky Towery, running in fourth, and Travis Sewell, the 556 out of Westville, Indiana, rounding out your top 5 in the junior AB 25+ class. And I believe we have our vet class to take a look at next. The vet A, Sam Forrester, leading Jesse Robinson. Welcome back, Jesse. And there was less than a second that separated those two when they came through. Looks like Forrester just passed Robinson. Joe Marsh, the number 38, is third. Nathan Allring in fourth, and Anthony Utley rounding out your top 5 in vet A 30+ class racing. And I believe, folks, that is our look at all of those amateur class top 5s that we're taking a look at. And right now we are heading back up to see how this finish line is going to work out and the overall positions. By the way, if you're wondering about Pascal, he is 9th place overall, just ahead of Austin Lee, who dropped to 10th place at last check, 3.2 seconds separated. And the World Enduro rider seems to be doing quite well here, at least in the first 2 hours. He told me hour 3, he specifically said, I'm worried about hour 3. Didn't necessarily use the word worried, but that's what it translated into.
He's a smart man by the sounds of him already. I like him. He's smart enough not to be overly optimistic.
There's Grant Baylor in the pits as he heads out of that Rocky Mountain ATV MCKR4 arrive and ride pit stop, and he's got himself some gas. He is, wow, 4th place position was what he was last time we checked in with Grant Baylor. So I'm assuming that he is still maintaining that kind of a pace out there. Leaders due in, according to my computer, scoring about 2:22.
Now, do we know if Pascal, did he pit a couple laps back when Austin Lee and I believe Josh Toth also pitted as well?
I'm not sure, but I would almost have to venture to say from race strategies and knowing Barry Hawk and the Coastal Racing team, they probably sent him on to put him out front so he could get some experience racing out front and try to sprint and open up a little bit of a gap, because we know coming from Europe, he's used to those sprint speeds and stuff like that, and that was probably the best advantage at that particular time, because once he gets there, maybe he can ride adrenaline if that 3rd hour really starts to wear in on him, you know?
I was watching a little bit early on the first lap, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm not positive, maybe you guys saw it on TV, his seat was missing. I'm 99% sure.
I didn't
So he stopped and put a seat on the very first lap. So he was in front of Austin Lee, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
So that took 20, 30 seconds.
Okay.
So that's why he dropped back a little bit, I believe. But, could be wrong, but it was 117, and I'd never recognized him before, so I figured that was him. And he was leading. I was like, who is that? and he's in the lead, so it kind of sparks your eye.
Yeah, it sounds like it may be exactly there. Sarah Duvall now at Twin Hills as he's look at that new line, chases down. And you know what? Why hasn't anyone else taken that line yet? That seems like to be the obvious line coming up to that. But I guess everybody's trying to scope out the hill, so but that knew exactly where he was going, so he went straight there.
Yeah, it's interesting. See, it depends sometimes if people are pointing you that way, and then all of a sudden it looks like a good line, but you have to see it way beforehand, and you're going so fast that if you don't plan ahead, you'll whack into one of those 2 trees.
And a corner like that could save you up to a second or more like that. That's how these times are chipped off, man. Just line choice is very critical in GNCC.
I totally agree, Rodney. I teach my riders, I say there's the pro line. Everybody looks at me kind of confusing, like, what's the difference? I say pretend you're riding the whole race and the whole lap with one hand. If you did, your lines would be a lot smoother, right? Because if you have 2 hands, you're going to bounce through everything. So if you're riding it with one hand just on the throttle, you're going to pick smoother lines. You're going to have to. It's going to rip the bars right out of your hands.
Right.
So a pro line is more, and you watch, obviously Caleb's one of the best at it, and Thad and all the guys up in there, but they have a tendency to go outside to way inside. Most racers go inside to outside. So it's not rocket science. I tell everybody go the opposite. Everybody asks me how do you go that fast for that long? You're not in the same line. I try to avoid the same rough line like the plague. I say if I had to ride the normal C and B and A line, even that I did, not knowing any better or not being able to be patient enough to cut to the AA Pro line, I'd probably have to go about 30% slower for the 3 hours.
Wow.
So you get done, I'd be probably 15, 20 minutes slower at the top of the speed that I was when I was at my top of the game.
Wow.
So it's a big deal.
Caleb Russell has checked in. Thad Duvall has checked in. That gap at 29 seconds. Lap time that time around 28:25 for Caleb Russell, 28:36. So
Caleb is finding his groove out here, so to speak, in these closing moments. I believe the white flag. What's that?
Two lap card is out.
2-lap card. Okay. So 2-lap card comes out as yeah, that would make sense. So 156. So working on lap 5. So I guess it's going to be a 6-lap race. I swear I thought they said a 5-lap race. So
I thought they did too. So
I don't know. So we'll find out. So, all right, so it looks like things must have sped up or didn't go as they had planned originally. So it looks like we will have to put us in the time restraints. They do a lot of calculations in the early part. Things do change throughout the race. So we are now looking at a 6-lap race. So sorry about that pit crews, but that has changed. That was what we were told. That's why we announced it. Things do change, but you know what? You guys are GNCCers. You can shift on the fly, my friends.
That's
Figure
right.
it out. You got it all taken care of. And everybody's in the same boat right now. That's the beauty of it. But Ricky Russell is in now, 17 seconds behind Thad Duvall. I'm not sure what happened to Russell out there, to Ricky, to put him back there in that number 3 position, other than the fact that you have a very hungry Caleb Russell trying to stretch it out amongst those guys, and a very hungry Thad Duvall trying to track down Caleb Russell at this particular point.
you're right. They're playing cat and mouse, and they're just it's all about, like you said, the off season and having the momentum mentally.
And that's what we're racing for right now. 2 laps to go. Thad Duvall, man on a mission, first race back since he beat Caleb Russell physically on the racetrack at John Penton GNCC. It's going to be interesting. Will he be able to leave the same taste in his mouth going into the winter break as he did the summer break? Man, I don't know. You're going to have to stick around with us to find out. We are 1 hour and 58 minutes into this race, and we will be back for the last hour of coverage coming up right after this.
Introducing SoundArt, the world's first truly customizable, concealed, flat panel art speaker system. SoundArt is elegantly hidden behind a high-grade, textured canvas wrap, bringing together the best of sound and art. This innovative design allows for a truly invisible, high-fidelity sound experience without bulky speakers. SoundArt by Ansia. Your art never sounded so good.
Racer, Ranger, Sportsman, Ace. If you live for the outdoors, there's a Polaris to match your passion. Confident, comfortable, capable. That's Ace. With a solo cockpit, automotive controls, independent suspension, all-wheel drive, and up to 45 horses of fuel-injected power. Calling it revolutionary would be an understatement. Polaris, the world leader in off-road innovation.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. The all-new from the ground up 2018 Yamaha YZ450F is now available at LoJack Cycle Sales. With over 40 years of experience in motorcycle sales and service and 15 national championships, we know racing. So stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZ. It's why we ride.
Yeah, welcome back to GNCC Live. Mikey Waynes along with Steve Hatch, Johnny Gallagher, and Rodney Tomlin here for the 23rd annual Ironman. My goodness, and we have got a good one. Maybe, just maybe, history in the making, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, these guys are they're really throwing down. And speaking of throwing down, check out this XC2 battle on screen. We started off with Austin Lee leading this thing. Now he's in 4th place with Craig DeLong right on his rear wheel there. The top 5 in XC2 are basically separated by just a few seconds. We've got our visiting rider, Pascal Rockenker, followed by Josh Toth in 2nd, Lane Michael 3rd. It is Austin Lee 4th and Craig DeLong 5th. Now that's not reflected on the screen yet, folks, because, well, here's why. And actually, look at this. Lane Michael has actually gotten around Josh Toth. Now this is the battle for 2nd, just ahead of them, maybe about, well, we'll see when they check in here and they actually update scoring. It's Pascal Rockenker leading the way from Austria. And as we look here for the overall, we know it is Caleb Russell. Pascal Rockenker still there in that, now 4 laps complete, in that 9th place overall position with a, looks like to be a 9-second lead over Lane Michael. Josh Toth, 0.09 seconds behind him there. So those guys are basically wheel to wheel, obviously. And, you know, that's the podium battle. So 9 seconds separate the top 3 in that XC2 Pro Lights class, with those guys being 9th, 10th, and 11th place overall. Or actually, I'm sorry. Or yes, 9th, 10th, and 11th overall. Austin Lee has not yet checked in, but we know he is just behind that battling it out with Craig DeLong. So, man, so many things going on here. Obviously, we've got some big things looming with Caleb Russell having tied Scott Summers' overall win record with 46 wins just 2 weeks ago at the Powerline Park GNCC in St. Clairsville, Ohio, here with the chance to do it at a very historic, very just huge atmosphere of the Ironman GNCC Raceway. He has the potential today, if he can hold on to this win over a hard-charging Thad Duvall, he stands to put away his 47th overall win. Mikey, you know, to put that in perspective, there's people that spend their whole lives racing, you know, trying to get 1 win, trying to get 2 wins, trying to get 5 wins. 47 times this man has been to the center of the GNCC podium for an overall win. Absolutely astonishing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to watch it and to be here in person and maybe see that happening later today is something incredible. So, I mean, if you're out here, if you're at the track today, once that white flag rolls out, you are going to want to grab your Carhartts, grab your as Johnny, you always put it, your favorite adult beverage, and head to that finish line, and you're going to want to see this. It's going to be special.
Yeah, you know, and another thing that we really can't say enough about is Thad Duvall's return to GNCC Racing. And I tell you what, he's pretty much picked up just exactly where he's left off, and that is giving Caleb Russell fits. I mean, these two have pushed each other today, and it looked like Ricky Russell was going to be able to hang in there early. He is still only 17 seconds back of Thad Duvall. Obviously not out of this one. Anything could happen, but he has fallen off the pace just a tiny little bit, and now he's got a little bit of work to do to catch back up if he and Thad want to work together to try and reel in Caleb Russell. So those guys right there are 1, 2, and 3 overall. Grant Baylor is a rider who has kind of quietly worked his way up through and is now sitting in that 4th place overall spot, only 48 seconds behind Ricky Russell. But one thing we know for sure is that Grant Baylor charges late in these. You know, Mikey, we've got, it's a historic facility here, 23 years, but on screen we've got just the last couple.
Yeah, and you go back to last year, Caleb Russell winning here, Thad Duvall getting second, Grant Baylor, who's doing well today. You know, he was the top, or the 3rd position last year, a 3rd place finisher, and there's Ricky Russell in 4th, Russell Bobbitt. So really pretty consistent to how it was a year ago. You go back before that, former GNCC champ Josh Strang up there, Ryan Sipes in 2nd, Jordan Ashburn as it goes down the list. Stu Baylor there, another Baylor in the top running there. But Caleb Russell, that's the thing you see, the consistency there. 3 out of the last 4, Caleb Russell.
And interestingly enough, last year, 2 years ago in 2015, when you don't see Caleb Russell's name in the top 5 or atop the board there where it's been every other year, he didn't race. That was the year he had the knee reconstruction and did not race this event. So therefore, every year that Caleb Russell has run this race in the last 4 years, or 5 years, he has won it. So if he's got to stay on the gas, though, to keep that streak alive. 2 laps left to go here, and they're still charging hard, and 29 seconds is not a comfortable gap when you've got somebody like Thad Duvall behind you because, you know, Steve, what's it like when you've pushed? I mean, me being a 2-hour guy, it's kind of hard to imagine or fathom that 3rd hour. You know, when you've pushed yourself for 2 hours and you're worn down and you feel like you've got the job done, you put it out of reach, and all of a sudden they give you a pit board and maybe that guy's a little closer than you thought or he puts in a charge. What goes through your head at a moment like that?
It's not good ever, right? So you're like, wow, I'm pinning it, and how in the world is he catching up or making up a lot of times, especially if you feel like you nailed the section. It's different if you crashed or had an issue or got stuck or had to push up a hill. But if you haven't, you're like, man, I'm on rails. This is a great day. And all of a sudden you see he gained 10, 20, 30 seconds. It's such a mental game, as we all know. And I always tell even my riders, and when I was doing it, I mean, it's hard, don't get me wrong, at any level. The 1st hour is hard. 2nd hour is the real deal. The 3rd hour, you can tell who the trainers are and the mentally tough are, because that's when it really shines. You can't fake that 3rd hour. I don't care who you are. In most race series, a lot of them around the United States as well as Europe are 2-hour length. So you're very good at that hour mark, if you will. I know when I got from the 2-hour to the 3-hour, I collapsed and fell off my bike, and they had to drag me into the truck after 2 hours of being dehydrated, coming in as a rider, trying my first GNCC. So it's just so physically and mentally taxing, you just can't even understand it. So part of it is having that toughness mentally to push through that, the ability of your bike and your body to take it for that long, and mentally to just tough it out when all you want to do is take a nap.
Absolutely. You want to take a nap, but more than taking a nap, what you want to do is you want to get your name on that list right there. The lower left corner of our screen is the bike overall win records. All-time bike GNCC wins atop that leaderboard are Scott Summers and Caleb Russell tied. After 2 weeks ago, Caleb Russell grabbing that win we talked about, he tied it all up with Scott Summers with 46 wins. 46 times they've been to the center of that GNCC podium. Rodney Smith there with 33. Probably most of those coming as a teammate of yours, Steve. In all those years of winning championships, I don't know exactly how many championships Rodney had, but 33 wins there and 5 championships. Wow, impressive. So 5 championships, 33 wins for Rodney Smith. Ed Lojak with 26 wins, and I know he had a bunch of championships. I think maybe 8, if I remember correctly, but a whole bunch of championships and 26 wins for him. Fred Andrews, I think only 1 championship, but 25 wins for him. So these are guys that are storied careers. These guys are legends of GNCC racing. A lot of them still around the sport, but the guy that's tied for the top of that board right now and has the potential today to take that spot outright already has 5 GNCC championships to his credit, including this year, and he's still working on that win total, and he could be the guy that takes it away and holds it outright today. So I actually believe, if I'm not mistaken, Scott Summers is here today. I've heard from a number of people that they've seen him around. So he was here, and he said, I want to be here. If he's going to take away my record, I'd like to see it and be able to shake his hand when he does, because I know what went into it, so I know what he's put into it to try and do it all these years later, because surely the competition has not gotten any easier. And oh, look at this. Speaking of not getting any easier, we've got our little FMF PowerPoint, and I know in Endurocross they call this a matrix. Here in GNCC, we just call it a cluster.
Yeah, that's accurate. A mess matrix. Yeah, just doing the quick math, obviously, in the head, if there's 13 races in a year and they won 46, that's almost 3.5 years of winning races straight between Caleb Russell and Scott Summers doing that. It's just an amazing feat, no matter what sport you're talking about. That's domination.
Yeah, and those wins, Caleb Russell has been in the XC1 Pro class since 2011. So this has been 6 full seasons of GNCC racing for Caleb Russell, and for him to be able to amass that total of wins number, he's done it in such a short span of time. 6 years, I know Rodney Smith's career spanned well over a decade. Fred Andrews, the same. I think Fred was racing XC1 for, I believe, 12 seasons. I don't exactly know Scott Summers exactly how many years, but I know it was well over a decade. So Caleb Russell has amassed that total in a relatively short amount of time of just 6 GNCC seasons in the XC1 Pro class to amass those 46 wins.
That's pretty impressive, whenever you look at the grand scheme of things. And honestly, I'm not sure exactly. I mean, if you look at the big picture, too, I know we're doing 13 rounds, and a few years ago, several years ago, we didn't do quite as many races, so it was harder.
It was 12 and then 11, I think, a few years. But, yeah, so he's getting a few more shots at it, but the rate that he's winning at is alarming.
It is very alarming. And, you look back on it, and, you hear about that history and the era. It was almost as if Scott Summers was a dominating factor on the racetrack, whenever he was racing GNCC. And like you say, for Caleb to come out here, and I mean, already this season, we've had 6 different winners here this season, but Caleb's had seasons where he's won 10 races throughout that entire season. That's pretty good. I think he's done that twice, as a matter of fact. So that's 20 races right there that he stacked up pretty quick. But I'll tell you what, the competition is rising, and I think that the wins will probably be a little harder to come by, but that gives I think the champ the incentive that he needs to keep pushing forward for championship number 6, 7, 8, and possibly 9 in the future, maybe even 10, depending on how well his career goes. I know that he loves GNCC, and he ain't going to be done for a while, and I know that he came out here to win today. Had a chance to catch up with him earlier yesterday, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so 2017's been it's been a tough year. It's been challenging, and that's what racing is all about. It's the challenge, and that's why they call it racing and not winning. I don't know how many times I've said that, but yeah, it's nothing's ever given to you. You got to earn everything. And started out with a second this year, then clicked off 4 straight wins, and then we kind of ran into a little bit of a slump, and things weren't looking too bright. But we were able to get the job done and keep our head on straight. But yeah, I mean, as far as tougher than any previous years, I don't
you know, they each have their own challenges within the year. So, I mean, can't really say it was tougher than my first championship, because my first championship I won by, you know, a handful of points, and championship came down the last race. So that was a, you know, a pretty pressure cooker situation. So as far as it being the toughest, I wouldn't say it is, but it was definitely challenging in other ways. Yeah, I'm definitely going for the win today. I'm currently tied with Scott Summers for 46 wins, career wins. So I'd like to get that done this year, and you know, you know, check another thing off the list, and get another win. That's always the goal, and yeah, I'm looking to go out on top, and that way we can start.
So there you go, looking to go out on top, looking to establish that 7th win now, I think, that he's looking to establish, so he can get that put behind him and focus on what the future holds. You know, if he does that, he sets that new record, he doesn't have any obstacles, anything to think about in the back of his mind. He's just to go out and win a championship next season.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's something that, you know, you can say it doesn't matter to you all you want, but, you know, when everybody else starts talking about it, you can't help but think about it. You know, and that's the win record thing has just been kind of looming in the background for Caleb for all those years.
And the funny thing about that is I talked with Caleb earlier in the season, about midway through the season, and whenever he was approaching this record status and stuff, and, you know, he was like, you know, records and stuff like that, you know, it really doesn't matter, you know, as far as that. He goes, you know, when you look at the big picture, all those wins and stuff really doesn't affect much now, you know. It's kind of the way he was looking at it at one point. And then a few races later, I think it all began to set in, and he started thinking about the magnitude of what was taking place. And then all of a sudden, he's like, wow. And you could see that he was starting to get it. He was starting to realize it. And now you see that he wants not only to win, but now he wants to establish those records and those marks that we have been so excited for him about.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rodney, and this is one thing that, you know, you may remember. And here we go, Caleb Russell hopping off the rock. He's going to turn, he's through the crowd, and here he goes, up Ironman Hill. He'll have one more time to go after this, making it look easy, right up over the top. Nothing but net, sends it right to the top. You know, Caleb Russell has the potential today. He's already tied Scott Summers with 46. If today he wins, that would be 47 GNCC wins, and he would overtake Scott Summers. And let's, you know, you're the guy that likes to build the drama into things. How about the fact that many of Scott Summers' wins, as we watched Thad Duvall, the 989, working his way through, taking a little bit different lineup Ironman Hill, but he actually gets over to the same side. So these guys are really able to move around and find different spots on this hill where they can get traction. But Thad up and on his way. That is our second place rider. Next we'll be looking for Ricky Russell. Doesn't look like, and is that him there? No, it is not. So it looks like he's lost a little bit more ground possibly. There he is. That is Ricky Russell. And now he's going to be shooting up Ironman Hill. He's taking that further right line, the same one that Caleb took, and we got a little freeze there, but he's up, and no issues whatsoever for Rough and Rowdy. Wow, that lapper was giving him a hard way to go.
Yes,
almost passed him right up that hill. But you know, many of Scott Summers' wins came at the expense of Jeff Russell back in the day when those guys used to battle, because they battled each other in the air. So now, all these years later, 20 plus years later, Jeff Russell's son has the ability to take away Scott Summers' outright win record. So a little bit of family justice there, but at the same time, you know, Jeff, Caleb, they have absolutely nothing but respect for Scott Summers. A great champion, all those championships, obviously 46 wins, and doing it all on essentially a Kubota tractor. It was a Honda XR 600, and I'll tell you what, that rock there that those people are standing on weighs 2 tons, and that's about half of what Scott Summers' XR 600 weighed.
Yeah, that definitely back when men were men, so to speak. But you know, the science of GNCC has changed so much since then. The evolution of the machines, the equipment, you know, it's as much vigor and want and will. Now you have to have the equipment to be able to translate that into wins these days, man. I mean, you know, it's not like you can, I mean, you can, but not as much as before. You could go buy a motorcycle on Friday, take it to the racetrack, race it Saturday or Sunday without doing anything to it whatsoever. The science of this sport has really elevated so much out there, and it is producing, I think, great racing, and it's making these riders' careers last a lot longer too, if you look at the grand scheme of things.
Oh
wow. That won't.
I didn't think he was going to make it that far. I'm going to be honest with you. Rodney, I didn't hear anything you just said. I was watching because he got this far last time, and then he went back down to the bottom, and they made him give another go at it, and that's where he made it to. So this time they're going to get him over the top. The human chain's going to grab hold of him and pull him over the top. But, hey, kudos to him, man. Winners never quit and quitters never win. So that guy's all about quitting. Or not quitting. Sorry, my bad. And here we see Trevor Bollinger, the number 5 JCR Honda. He's going to shoot up. I hope he knows that that way is blocked, unless he's planning on wheel tapping over top of that bike. We're going to find out here in a minute. And, they got the bike out of the way.
That's the human chain for you. That's the Ironman fans. They get that stuff out of the way for you. Make sure that the path is clear as quick as they can. Thank you, Ironman Hill fans that are out there. The mud fleas, the hill fleas, whatever you want to call them. Josh Strang now checking in with us on the 114. So good to see that he really seems to be picking it up here later in the race, honestly.
Yeah, he's taking a page out of the BAYLOR book. That last hour is when you drop the hammer and do work. And speaking of, there's Stu BAYLOR right on his rear wheel, the 514 machine. So those guys are probably a little further back than they would like to be there, sitting in, I believe it is 6th and 7th place in that XC1 Pro class. And Rodney, you were saying about the science of GNCC and how things have changed and the machinery have changed, and that is obviously true. And I think the one thing also that has changed is Scott Russell. Now we're just mixing them up. He was a road race guy. But Scott Summers did damage late in these 3-hour GNCCs back in the day, which was phenomenal considering he was riding a bike that weighed well over a ton. And for him to be able to come out and do what he did, Scott Summers was training back when no one else was.
Right.
You could tell, when you looked at Scott Summers back in the day, he was ripped. He was shredded. And to this day, I don't know. I've never really talked to him to know, was it running? Was it cycling? What was his thing? Look at this. The Matrix is getting loaded up, folks. And I tell you what, our leaders are going to be coming to that. So that could play into the things here with these riders clogging this up. Those guys, sure, they can make it through, no problem. But if they can't get even a chance to it, and it's all, you see that bannered off there, they can't go outside those banners. So they're going to have to hope that they can get that clear, and that they're doing about 2 minutes, our producers are telling us. So look at this. Another rider comes in. They're really starting to struggle through here.
Deep in there.
Yeah, it is. What's happened is that dirt and that sawdust has gone from between those logs, and it's making things much more challenging.
Wow,
this guy's got the idea. He's just going to walk his bike through.
Yeah.
But, Rodney, that, like we were talking about, that was back when the other riders weren't training. They were full-time racers, but they didn't quite have the training and the nutrition thing figured out. Sorry, I'm going to change the line of thought. There is Pascal Rocknicker, the rider from Austria, leading that XC2 Pro Lights class. And we had heard the word on the street on Pascal was that he's not, although he's a world enduro guy, he doesn't stand out in the special tests like the rest of those guys do. So we don't see his name atop the leaderboards very often in the world enduros. Or even in ISDE or anything like that, where the Europeans have a tendency to shine. But where he's been shining is this year they did 2 GNCC style formats. They're trying to get their guys more prepared for this type of racing, and Pascal really shined in both of those events, winning the outright overall, beating all of the E1 guys from the E2 class, which is pretty well unheard of over there. It would be equivalent to an XC2 rider winning the overall here, and did it by quite a margin. And from what I had heard, I was speaking with Caleb and a few others, was not even running in the top 10 overall in the first hour, was barely into the top 5 in the second hour, and then the third hour is where he did his damage, and not only took over the lead, but pulled away with it.
Wow. So maybe the third hour.
Oh, that's a good shot. Hope he's all right, but it sounds like our pros just came through there, so fortunately for them, they were able to get through. Well, there's Thad now.
And like we said, this could play in. Only a few seconds, but it definitely cost him a couple.
Right. It most certainly did. And the lap traffic, I think, is what slowed him down through there, to be honest with you. And they'll be going through this section one more time, right? Wow, you have to wonder what one more lap is going to do to this section of the racetrack with over 300 riders out there going through this section, of course, and it's starting to get a little bit more congested, a little more challenging for these riders, but the pros seem to be making it through A-OK as we work our way now down here to the pro pits. We're going to see right here in front of the TV booth, here comes Thad Duval right now, and
there he goes. Don't blink.
Yeah, he's moving along. That's pretty good. Wheels was talking to me there just a few moments ago. He was talking about, he says, I go to a lot of motocross races, and he says, man, those guys go by really fast. He says, I'm just impressed about how fast he goes. He goes, I was setting out trackside. I watched Caleb Russell go by really, really, really fast. He said Caleb was really moving, and I know that Thad's been moving today too. He's turned some faster lap times as well. So, I mean, these guys are on a whole different level, and Thad is exactly one of those right now. So
how about it, Rodney? It's been basically 3 months since we've, well, more. If you include the summer break, it's been almost 4 months since we've
July
seen Thad Duvall out here racing, and there we see Ricky Russell, our third-place rider in that XE1 Pro class. You know, Thad Duvall hasn't been on a GNCC race course since July 8th, and I think it's safe to say he picked up right where he left off.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. I'm amazed about that. You know, I know that he's kept that as much training up as possible, and it was only a wrist that he injured, so, you know, he could still work on the cardio and everything, but the mental fitness, too, is one thing that you lose. I mean, you don't think that 3 races and that amount of time is going to matter. I think that anybody that races knows that it will, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him. It actually seems to have maybe made him a little bit hungrier to be out here, and that might be what he's running on right now, is that just pure adrenaline at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Picked up right where he left off, and there we see Chandler Russell and crew. So there's the next generation of Russells right there. And right now, so that was Caleb Russell about 20 years ago when he was watching Daddy get beat by Scott Summers. And now crew is there, mommy holding him and saying, okay, you know, we're going to see if Daddy can get the job done. And crew, what do you think? Is Daddy going to get number 47 today? Can you hear me over there, buddy? Is Daddy going to win? Oh, yeah. He said,
He said, yeah.
He said, yeah. That was Crew's sign for, yep, Daddy going to win.
Yep, no
so
problem.
Either way, he's pumped.
Oh, he gave us, hey, good job, shooter.
Yeah, good job, shooter. No, actually, I can tell you, that is actually his high five.
Oh, all right.
Sorry, no. That is his
fist bump?
It's either fist bump or high five. He does this thing instead of giving the thumbs up. He sticks his finger at you. He gives you the finger guns. So
he's got his own style.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And someday we'll see him probably in the not so distant future out there in our micro race, which happened yesterday afternoon. Actually, no. This was a UTV round.
It's funny. Talking to Chandler, it's been a few rounds back. I said something to her about crew racing, and she's like, well, we'd really like him to just get into golf.
Yeah.
It's a lot safer. And I said, yeah, I don't think you have a chance at that. I think this is where he's going to
I
thrive.
go through the pits, and he sees me coming, and he just waits for me to yell 10 seconds for him. He's on his little push bike, his little strider bike, and he waits, and I yell 10 seconds, and then he just takes off right. He loves it. Him and Charlie's boys, they love it, man. It's so much fun to see these guys go at it.
I tell you what, you know, Caleb's in big trouble because that kid is just glued his eyes whenever he sees a four-wheeler. So he's going to be a quad guy, I'm sure of it. He's actually, from what I'm told, they actually already have a little mini quad for him over at Chandler's parents' place. And speaking of Caleb Russell, there he is. He's on the moto track, and he's got some competition there from some lapped riders. They're not wanting to give up those positions. And what I believe we're going to see here, if I'm not mistaken, is a white flag waving, which will signify just one more lap for Caleb Russell in that factory FMF KTM, the #1 machine. And also one lap standing between him and history, Rodney.
That's it. 28:25 lap time on lap number 4. And a 28:52, a little bit of a slowdown. The lap traffic is getting heavier here as we roll into the final lap of racing. And as Johnny Gallagher says, 1 lap away from the historic 47th win for Caleb Russell. Thad Duvall checking in the number 2 spot now as we check in with his lap times. Looks like we said, picking up right where he left off. I'm sure if he was going to say it, I left off right on the rear fender of Caleb Russell, if truth be told, and maybe even on the front fender of Caleb Russell. So got a little bit further to work back up, but man, you can't start much closer than what he is now. He is now 32 seconds behind. He gained about 3 seconds on him as it looks like, actually he lost 3 seconds on him as Caleb turned to 28:52. He turned to 28:55. So looks like I think Thad, barring no problem, should have that second place position wrapped up. And what an amazing accomplishment for him. It may not be a win, but at the same time, it's a win in a lot of different levels.
You know what I think it does, Rodney, between Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall? We can sit here all day and talk about the what-ifs. You know, what if Thad Duvall hadn't gotten hurt? Where would we be at this point in the season between these two guys battling? The fact of the matter is he did get hurt. Currently 29 seconds behind, 32 seconds behind Caleb Russell now. But anyways, what I think it does is it sets the stage for 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, we come into it, everybody's going to be healthy, and you know, social media can blow up and talk all they want, but man, when that time comes, you know you're going to have two very hungry riders.
Here's something very interesting, and it might be translating from the fact that we've got a little more extra guys in the XC1 class today than what we traditionally do. Normally about 14, 15 guys. Today we've got 18, but our top amateur position, believe this, have not broke the top 20 yet. They are inside the top 20. They're in the 20s. Actually, we're looking at the 258 class that are vying for top amateur positions right now, and I just bumped off of the wrong page there. But we'll go back to that overall here. But they're running like 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and I just did it again.
No, it's not you, Rodney. It's as they. There is Josh Strang and Stu Baylor at the Twin Hills, and that is actually updating. You're not doing anything wrong there, Rodney.
Okay, I thought
as they're updating, they're bumping around there, so it's doing it on its own. So, but Alex Teagarden, go ahead, Rodney. But
yeah, I thought you were picking up right where you.
Well, I got to tell you, when I stepped out of the booth, I actually saw Alex take a nap on the moto track.
Really?
Yeah. One of the gnarliest crashes I've ever seen. Came down, and actually somehow his front wheel got turned. He landed to his face, and when I reached him, he wasn't real sure what was happening, but he knew he wanted to get back on his dirt bike, and he needed to go because he had a championship on the line and an overall amateur on the line. And I'm stunned to see that 2 laps later, he is still out there and still leading. I mean, he took goggles off, and he looked at me, and he said, "I broke my pelvis." And I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "I think I'm going to try and ride." I said, "Well, if you got a broken pelvis, you definitely should." But, you know, that's one of those things that goes through your mind when you go down like that. He was okay. He was alert. He carried on. But it's all those things like, oh, my God, did I just throw this away?
Right.
And, yeah, he hit the ground very hard. So he's going to be one sore puppy up on that podium later this afternoon if he can hang on to this one.
Well, Teagarden turning a last time around a lap for a, what are we looking at, 31:25, which was about 29, almost 30 seconds faster than the 981 of Jonathan Johnson. The gap, though, only 17.5 seconds, so he actually made the pass after that crash into that first place position. Cody Barnes, by the way, in third place of that 258 class, 19 seconds behind Johnson. He's turning a 32.12 right now. He currently sits 26th overall. So the 24th, 25th, and 26th, that's where we're vying for top amateur positions. And wow, what a story, and what a way to end the season if it comes out like that for Alex Teagarden, man. Talk about true grit.
Absolutely. Jordan Ashburn, the number 4 factory beta, working his way up the Twin Hills. And pretty soon here on screen, we should be seeing, if we haven't already missed them, and there he is, the XC2 Pro Lights leader. He flashed by. The cameraman didn't even recognize him. He was going so fast. So that was Pascal Rocknicker leading his way in that XC2 Pro Lights class. Second place, last we knew, was the number 1 machine of Josh Toth. 206 is the number that registers, but number 1 is the number on the machine. So that one looking like it was going to come down to the end there, but maybe not. It looks like Pascal's been able to pull this one out just a little bit.
Well, Lane Michael actually moving into the number 2 spot. He was running 5th early in the race. He was only 9.7 seconds behind Pascal. Whenever we last checked in, it was a 29:16 lap time for Lane Michael.
There's Rocknicker on screen right there. Jordan Ashburn out of the shot. And there is Pascal Rocknicker, the leader in that XC2 Pro Lights class. First career GNCC, first career race in America, and on his way to leading this one and potentially a win. Lane Michael, as Rodney had pointed out, had taken over the number 2 spot, but we have not yet seen him even work his way through at the Twin Hills there. So Rocknicker really starting to stretch this one out down the stretch.
Wow, so this one is going to get very interesting as we head into the final lap for the XC2 Pro 250 class. And right now, Caleb Russell on his way to history with that 32-second lead. Lots of lap traffic. That's going to be the tail of the tape, I think, at the end of this one as we watch our number 4 of Jordan Ashburn make his way in now. He is 8th place in the overall and in the XC1 class. Pascal physically right behind him, well, a few seconds behind him on the racetrack and on adjusted time. I have to wonder, obviously, if he's within that minute, he should be able to surpass the number 4 of Jordan Ashburn on overall adjusted time. But you look at the lap times, a 31:09 this time around, or actually a 31-minute flat lap time for Jordan Ashburn this last time around. A 29:20 was the lap time that Pascal had turned the last time. If he's anywhere in that neighborhood, which he likely could be, we might see him move up into an even 8th place overall position with time adjustments and maybe even further. Here we go.
There is Caleb Russell working his way across that slippery bridge and off in pursuit of win number 47. We'll see if the camera stays here long enough we can possibly get a gap. Caleb Russell was through there at 24 seconds, so 33 minutes, 24 seconds on my watch. Well, we're a little different up top there, so we're just going to go off mine. So 33 minutes, 24 seconds was the time that Caleb Russell left the edge of that bridge. So we'll see where we're at with Thad Duvall. Hold on a second, 47. So only 23 seconds is the gap now. So that down from upwards of 30 down to 23 seconds.
Wow.
So Thad Duvall made some inroads towards that.
Yes, he most certainly has. And again, look at all the lap traffic out there. We talked about it. It was starting to get thicker there. We're watching it through the FMF PowerPoint over there. There could be some big changes because of that here today. And we're approaching the meat of this 300 rider pack that is out there on the racetrack right now. And
is that heated meat?
Exactly. Yes. That means the fast guys in the middle of the pack. That's
where all the battling.
New terminology. I come up with it all the time.
They're battling amongst themselves for class wins, for positions, and they have no idea that this battle for an overall, and potentially in Caleb Russell's case, for history. And if you're Thad Duvall, you want to stop history. You want history to remain just the way it is. You never want Caleb Russell to get another win ever, because you want to win every race. So these guys are battling hard, and this one far from over. And one thing you can say, Rodney, is right now, these guys can't see each other. But this whole dynamic of this battle would change. One slip up on the part of Caleb Russell, or if Thad Duvall is able to really put in a heater here for a couple miles, and he can get that gap down to where he can see the back of that number 1 FMF KTM, that changes the whole dynamic of everything, because then it's like a fish on the end of a line, and you're just trying to reel them in. So that's what Thad Duvall's trying to do right now. He's trying to reel it in. Caleb Russell trying to stretch it out, and both of these guys right now on a mission. And man, what awesome racing these two and so many others have provided us with this year. But it seems like whenever we've had a battle, the back and forth, whether it be these guys actually wheel to wheel or watching the stopwatches, watching the lap times, Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall never seem to disappoint.
No doubt. Not. Pascal Rossenecker has now checked in an 8th place overall position after time adjustments. Josh Toth checking in 9th place overall, in 2nd place of the XC2 250 Pro class. Lane Michael checks in 10th place, 3rd place in the XC2 250 Pro class. Looking at the gaps right now between Josh Toth and Pascal, who is 8th and 9th, there are about 32 seconds. We see the lap times reflecting a 29:34 for Pascal, 29:56 for Josh Toth. Lane Michael is 3rd in the class, 10th overall, had a 30-minute 01 lap time, so that's why we see that he has lost that position, but he's only 4.5 seconds behind 2nd place. So if he can find that fever again here in the final part of this race, this could get interesting for the battle for 2nd. I think Pascal is going to be very tough to touch at this particular point. So 3rd hour or not, he seems to have the pacing down. He seems to have the actual endurance down, and this is a good test run for him and a good preview of what we might be looking for in the very near future as 2018 approaches here in GNCC. Right now, with just under 20 minutes of racing left to go before we find out whether history will be made, we're waiting to see. We got Thad Duvall in 2nd behind Caleb Russell. Ricky Russell is 3rd. Grant Baylor in 4th. Trevor Bollinger rounding out your top 5. And, of course, when we return, all the hoopla will, of course, know whether or not we're going to be celebrating a win for Thad Duvall or whether we're going to be celebrating history for Caleb Russell. Stick around. GNCC Racing continues here on RacerTV.com right after this.
Get the most protection for your vehicles and toys and the most bang for your buck with the AMSOIL Preferred Customer Program. Join today and receive up to 25% savings on AMSOIL products, exclusive product and shipping promotions, free AMSOIL gear, points on all purchases, referral rewards. Register today and take advantage of all the benefits offered by the AMSOIL Preferred Customer Program. Visit amsoil.com/PC.
Here at Rocky Mountain ATVMC, we go beyond selling parts, apparel, and accessories. We take pride in supporting the sport. We're proud to sponsor GNCC Racing and the KR4 team. It's just one more way to show our dedication for the fans and riders of this great sport. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
If you believe life starts where the blacktop ends, if the power of an engine makes your heart race, don't settle for anything less than Polaris RZR, the ultimate off-road vehicle. With unequaled power, unrivaled suspension, and unmatched agility, all perfectly combined to help you chase down what matters most. Polaris RZR, we fuel your freedom. And now's the time to get up to $2,000 cash back during the Polaris Spring Sales Event.
And welcome back to GNCC Live from Crawfordsville, Indiana, and the historic AMSOIL Ironman GNCC for our 23rd annual running. Rodney Tumble along with Johnny Gallagher and Mikey Waynes. And, of course, we've been joined with Steve Hatch earlier, and, of course, Wheels from RacerX Illustrated and our media, social media guy here for GNCC, as we have really witnessed a lot of great things today. We started out bright and early this morning with our youth racing under nearly dark skies and cloudy conditions. It was a little overcast and somewhat cloudy whenever we started this race, but blue skies are starting to prevail and sunshine, a little wind blowing, and the big, I think, remembrance of this weekend, aside from the great racing, is the chill in the air that is here. That is for sure. Is certainly fall-like conditions and moving into that winter time here pretty soon. But we have one last opportunity here in Crawfordsville, Indiana. As we mentioned there a few moments ago, starting off this morning with our youth riders, talk about another great battle that started in this one. And they had to wait for a few minutes to get it going, but once it got going, it was a great win. And Mike BAYLOR Jr. in his last youth race effort was able to take the overall win.
With Mike BAYLOR. Mike BAYLOR, man, first win of the season out of the Super Mini Senior class. How's that feel?
Pretty good.
Well, man, what did it take to capture this win today, and what's this mean for your 2017 season?
Oh, you know, it's a good way to finish off my season. The biggest thing out there was keeping warm and riding smooth today.
Well, great work, man. What's in store for you come 2018?
I'll be moving up to the main. I don't know what class yet, but we'll see.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you there, my friend. Good luck to you, and congratulations on a great year.
Thank you.
Michael BAYLOR, what a amazing kid. He's a big kid, and believe it or not, he just now moved into the Super Mini Senior class. I think he was a Super Mini Junior.
Yeah,
right,
he's
right?
Super Mini Junior champ, and I believe he actually ran Super Mini Senior last round. Kind of had a rough race, and came out today. And I mean, every time you blink, the kid was coming around for another lap. And he's a big dude. He got, and yeah, throughout the season, he was no stranger to a top 3 finish with the time adjustment from the Super Mini Junior class. So to see him come out in the Super Mini Seniors and pick up the win to kind of end his youth career is pretty incredible. And I love seeing those guys moving up to the ranks of the PM race, either late in the season or, for in his case, going into the 2018 season. So congratulations to Mike BAYLOR.
Well, there was Derek Garcia we saw just a few moments ago, one of the Racer Productions crew and MX Sports staff members. Big smile on his face as he's waiting and watching history in the making here at the AMSOIL Ironman GNCC. We're about 13 minutes out from a finish here. We're going to keep an eye on the monitor here, if you will, as we're joined back in the booth again by Steve Hatch. Wheels also with us as well. But I wanted to run down a couple of the few of these quick classes quickly, these amateur classes. I won't get really detailed on them, but certainly want to give you an idea of what we're like heading into these final laps. As we look at the Senior 840 Plus class, Rick Burton leading that one over Sean Remington, still now about 2:45. Looks like he should take the win in that one. Jeffrey Odell is third, Patrick Patterson in fourth, and looks like Frank Tussle in the number 5 position. As we move to the next class, Jackson Linkhouse over Dakota Harrison, 12.8 seconds on that one. And it looks like that Harrison is actually closing up that gap. 39.41 for Linkhouse last time around, a 38.57, so about 43 seconds faster was Harrison. He should be in the lead by theory. Cody Stevens running in third, Anthony Herring in fourth, and Steven Schonkweiler rounding out your top 5 in that Open B class. Michael DeLosa leading Langdon Feltner now in that 250B class as we see a 3-minute and 25-second gap opening up. Looks like Austin Williams in third, Francis Philatra in fourth, and Grant Curfman in the number 5 position. As we look next, Sean Myers leading Benjamin Wright. And, of course, as we take a look at that one, looks like Sean Myers got around Benjamin Wright there on that last lap of racing. Don't know what happened, but Benjamin Wright had a 35:34 last time when he checked in. And there is Sean Myers with a 37-minute lap time checking in. And as we watch the monitor, there's a little bit there. Those water bottles that we're watching there on the monitor right now, Steve Hatch, I tell you, those are pretty instrumental things, but they look like a normal water bottle with a piece of rubber hose sticking out of it. What's that all about?
Yeah, it's funny how they grow there, huh? You don't see them very often, just Indiana, I guess. Yeah, actually, so what happens is the riders obviously have a Camelback usually on their back, so they have their own liquids in it with hydration. And then what the pit crew can do is hand you a bottle as you ride by. So there's quite a few places that you try to catch the rider. You can see somebody running out there now maybe, but one of the tricks is obviously the throttle's on the right and the clutch is on the left, so you have to try to grab it so that you're left hand.
That
so
is the
it's not always easy.
No, it's not, and that's, I mean, people actually practice that. I mean, it's you hold it out, you see different people doing it, but I mean, it's an art. It becomes an art after a while.
You're right. There's been enough drops. I wish I had $1 for every time something dropped.
And it can be very critical. If you need that water, you need that drink for whatever reason to moisten that throat or whatever the case may be, you miss that. It might be a mile or two again before you get to see those guys, and that makes it tough. Caleb Russell at Ironman Hill right now as he is on his way to history. We are less than now about 15 minutes from being able to possibly call Caleb Russell a all-time winningest rider, the most wins record. Just an amazing feat that this rider has been able to achieve over the course of his professional career. And there you go. So doesn't look, there's Thad Duvall heading up Ironman Hill. A little more struggle that time around for him. But as we were saying, those pass-offs of the water bottle is very critical, but doesn't look like Caleb Russell's needing too much water today.
No, you know what? I just was out there running around checking out the motocross track. Looks like everybody's having fun. Great course, of course. But, Caleb was definitely pushing and, pinning it. You could tell he's definitely wanting to keep ahead of that if he can. And today being a little bit cooler, it's not as instrumental as the hot days or the sandy or dustier ones, as the body doesn't sweat as much and you're not as dehydrated as usual with the hotter temperatures. So, but still critical to keep you there. I always teach my riders they should try to drink twice a lap, because even when I was racing, it's pretty easy to just get infatuated with the race, and there's never a good time to drink, right? So I tell them to drink once after going through the pits, like when you go back into the trees quickly, put your drink system in your mouth, take a few drinks, and then halfway across the track, say it's a 12-mile track, the 6-mile marker, try to drink again. So you get it 2 times about halfway through each lap during the whole 3 hours. Makes a world of difference, because by the end, by the time that you're thirsty, it's too late. You're already dehydrated. You're seeing pink elephants run across the trail, and it's really a bad deal.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And there's the science in the evolution of science. We figured that stuff out over the years, like the bikes have become better scientifically. So have we as riders scientifically, and the careers are extending because of studies like that and guys like you that really basically pioneered the training regimen, I think.
Yeah, I think, the maturity of a body gets even more endurance-oriented by the time you get to 25 to 35 for like an endurance athlete, triathlete, marathon runner, some of those athletes. So obviously this is similar in the longevity of it, being a 3-hour race compared to a 10 or 20-minute sprint, if you will. So one of the tricks is definitely, learning the mental side, the body, the bike, and making it so that these riders and racers can go longer. And we're realizing a lot of different facets too, Rodney, that flexibility, instead of just being strong and just strength, you have to have pliability also, or else when you break or crash, muscles rip or bones break a lot easier than if you're pliable and flexible, even though you can be super strong. So it's pretty interesting. It's evolved, and I'm constantly chasing the technology side of it, as well as always even myself learning. I just took a Graham Jarvis school that came over to do one in New York. I'm always learning and a student myself on the body, on the mental, on the nutrition, hydration, on the riding learning how to become better. So I think that's the neat evolution.
How do I tap into all that knowledge? I guess I'm going to stevehatchracing.com as quick as I can. Man.
Absolutely, that'd be great. Yeah, that's you know, between my wife and I, we've got over 45 years worth of professional you know, help as being professional athletes ourselves, and/or working with professional athletes from football to baseball to auto racing to you name it. We work with a lot of the top pros, so it's not just dirt bikes.
That's pretty impressive. Less than 7 minutes to go, Wheels. Your take on your first GNCC, brother?
One word, gnarly. Like I said earlier, I spent a lot of time around motocross, and a lot of riders who go really fast. And I was hanging out here on Pro Row, and Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall, they both went by me really, really fast. It's incredible how these guys are able to maintain a motocross, quote, motocross style speed, but with trees. And trees they don't move. So yeah, I mean, I've been working for the series for 2 years, I worked for Racer X for 2 years, my first GNCC, and one word, gnarly.
Well, I tell you, welcome out, man. I'm glad you finally got to make it out. Now, I know you're going to be out tomorrow because you just gotta want to be here, and if you don't, man, I'm going to kick your wheels off your chair, man.
Put it this way, I have a pretty strict 60-degree rule, and it's well below 60 degrees here today. But I'm having a blast. This morning when my alarm went off at 4:30, I was like, man, what am I doing? It is going to be so cold. But now, like, if I didn't come, I would have been an idiot. This is so fun.
Well, we're glad that you made it. As we are waiting on this very historic finish here, we're less than 6 minutes away. Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, Ricky Russell, Grant Baylor, Trevor Bollinger, but it's Caleb Russell that we're keeping an eye on, and Thad Duvall. Can he make up that 30-second gap? I know he's trying his hardest, but he's running out of time to make it happen in.
Yeah, I saw both of them go by, and they are on the gas, to say the least, trying to catch each other or run away from each other. So it's a pretty addicting sport once you get in here and check it out. Huh? That's neat.
I tell you what, the only thing that doesn't look fun and addicting is when they go through that water. It's so cold. I know why the screen freezes every once in a while, because that's what the riders are feeling when they go through the creek, is like, what am I doing? This is not fun. And then you got to go up that gnarly hill while you're cold. Like,
I love it. I love it when moto guys come over. I imagine your first trip over after you were a big motocross racer coming into GNCC. It was an eye-opening experience.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just like Wheels was saying, on the trees don't move. You know, in moto they have hay bales and nice fluffy things, and if you really mess up, you cartwheel into those. But these trees are solid, and I unfortunately hit quite a few of them here and there. When you mess up, you're going fast, as he said with Thad and Caleb going by. You don't plan on ever hitting them. If you did, you'd never go that fast past them. You can't look at them.
What I think is really gnarly is these top guys, they don't run the traditional like bark busters like Hare Scramble or Enduro guys do. They run just motocross handguards. And to me, like, if I'm riding in the trees, I don't want to hit my knuckles on that.
Well, that's the idea. That's
Russell
extra.
Down.
Uh-oh, Russell is down in the FMF PowerPoint. Oh, no, and he goes down again. And he's trying to get through the lap traffic all at the same time. Russell is back up. He's remounted, but there is lost time, and there is possibility for 989 Thad Duvall. But the only thing is, he's not there to capitalize just yet. So Caleb, though he was down, he got back up quick enough, and Thad Duvall did not witness that, so he doesn't have that extra incentive. But look at him. He's coming through there now. Lap traffic, he is going to make, whoa, Thad just about going down, but he's able to maintain that machine and keep it up on two wheels and all that lap traffic. That was tight getting out of there. Caleb Russell now down through Pro Pits, folks. Here we are, keeping an eye on this, the historic ride for the #1 KTM of Caleb Russell as he's on his way home to win number 47 to become the most winning rider of all times on two wheels in GNCC racing. What an amazing feat, surpassing Scott Summers, tying him and Rodney Smith in championships this season, and now surpassing the all-time wins record. Caleb Russell, just a few more feet literally to go in order to capture those claims and, of course, make that statement at the end of this race day. It is not over yet, but it is nearly over, and Caleb is certainly the man of the hour today. And folks are going to be talking about this for a long, long time to come. And if anyone is here, if you're watching this on TV, you will remember this moment because it's going to be a long time before anyone breaks that record.
Yeah, you know what, Rodney, with all those other win streaks, those guys are all retired or moved on to different sport, different things in their careers. So just to be that far ahead of the next best guy that's coming up down the road, it's going to be a lot of years. So it's really cool to see Caleb charging and enjoying the wins as well as the championships. He's been earning them every year. They're no gimmies, as you know.
No.
Everybody in second through the last is pissed off and wants to beat you when you got the number 1 on your back. So he's dug hard every single year.
He has.
It's
He's got a
awesome.
lot of people upset with him right now. That's for sure because everybody's chasing him. And you know what? You got to wonder, will Pascal be a threat next year as he comes into the XC2? He certainly looks like a key player. He's 8th place position, leading the XC2 Pro class here, heading into the final lap. And that's another pretty historic moment as well. You need to take note of that because that right there might be a good piece of trivia for you one day whenever we start talking about GNCC racing. Riders still trying to traverse this. We are about a minute away from seeing Caleb Russell there in the moto track version, portion of the race course and working his way through the AMSOIL chicanes there for the closing moments and capturing that checker flag.
Remember when I said the word of the day was gnarly? That section's gnarly.
That is for sure a gnarly, gnarly section. This whole Ironman race course with nearly 2,400 competitors making their way around it has certainly got its challenges out there. It was a nice, smooth highway when we started on Saturday morning. It's nothing like that here on Sunday afternoon. But I'll tell you, the hype, it all is coming to an end right here today, man. When we came into this one, we knew the possibilities loomed. I know that sometimes whenever these riders get the pressure on, and we may have seen Caleb succumbing to some of that pressure earlier in the season as much as it was Thad Duvall. But here late in the season, man, he's a man on a mission, making that statement. He said he came out here to win, and that's exactly what he's on his way to doing right now. As there's Thad Duvall making his way past Twin Hills. I would have to assume that Caleb Russell is ahead of him there in that particular instance. Have not heard anything and just got the confirmation that he is still out front. So Caleb will be coming into that finish line region here in just a few moments. We'll see him on the famed Ironman race course, the motocross course, as he winds his way into those AMSOIL chicanes and to that final checker flag of 2017, the one that will set the standard as far as wins are concerned in off-road racing. Just under the 2-hour and 54-minute mark right now as we wait for this history to be written. Caleb Russell about 20 seconds behind where he needs to be.
That's right by the finish.
Where he has been in the past, but it doesn't matter because he's right where he needs to be, out front in that final turn. And one more to go as Caleb Russell will capture himself win number 47 and become GNCC Racing's all-time winner in bike wins there. Win number 47 for Caleb Russell. A historic moment here in GNCC and a historic moment in off-road motorcycle racing. And I tell you, talking to a guy that raced with Scott Summers, the guy that held the record before, Steve Hatch, I got to tell you, you probably had to wonder if this day would ever come. And here it is.
Yeah, you're right, Rodney. A record like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, sounds like we're about ready to head on down to the finish line, so stand by for that. And we're going to get the words with him. There's Thad Duvall making his way in as well. So Caleb Russell taking the win. But how about it for for Thad Duvall? Man, I mean, he hasn't been on the racetrack since the first part of July and the GNCC. He got hurt at the ISDE. He's raced some national enduros, but he hasn't raced this. And he comes out and he finishes a very, I would say, well-deserved second-place finish and a very statement-making second-place finish today, I think, as well. But that guy right there made the statements that need to be made. The win.
Scott Summers.
And there is Scott Summers congratulated him. That right there is pretty cool when you have two icons in our sport standing side by side. The great Scott Summers, 5-time GNCC champion, and now second on the all-time wins record in motorcycles racing here in GNCC. But I'll tell you, I'm sure that Scott probably feels about the way that we would. Caleb Russell is probably about as good a person that could take that notoriety and take this record as anyone could.
You're right, Rodney. Both of those guys, Scott Summers and Caleb Russell, both champions and on and off the track. So it's only fitting and very cool that Summers is here to say hi to him and congratulate him on that, because that's such a big feat and takes your whole life to achieve. So very cool point for both of them, and smiles from both. It's the passing of the torch, which is fantastic for both Caleb and for Scott.
Wow, that right there, that is a picture to have for sure when you've got those two guys. And it looks like we got Johnny Gallagher down there as well. So we're going to be heading on down to the finish line to talk to our history maker and Caleb.
I know quite a bit of respect between these two. Caleb, how does it feel? 47 wins, all-time GNCC wins leader. 2 weeks ago we had this conversation. You were able to tie it, and I asked you that, and I said, what feels better, being the St. Clairsville overall winner, the 5-time champion, or tied for the wins leader? So I'm going to ask you the same question. 2 weeks removed from that, how does it feel?
I don't even know. I can't really explain it. It's a great feeling. I mean, I'm super, up until this point, and a lot of people around me believed in what I could do and gave me the shot. But it's just the attitude that I bring to the racetrack, and that allows me to be so successful, and to never give up, and just grind it till the end. That kind of attitude that I have, and to be tired, to take the win, take the most wins away from Scott's pretty awesome. I've grew up kind of watching the Blackwater 100 videos and watching my dad and those guys race. So it's pretty surreal to like I've said before, I just wanted to race motorcycles. I never wanted to be the best, but like I said, my attitude just, once I got to started winning, I didn't want anything else.
So all those years ago when you were just a little kid here at the GNCCs, playing on your bicycle, had the little dirt tracks, did you ever dream, or even as a 65 rider, an 85 rider, a big wheel rider, as an A rider, at what point did something like this enter into your mind that someday you could be sitting here on this motorcycle taking the all-time win record away from possibly the greatest GNCC rider of all time on the bike side, Scott Summers? When did this enter into your mind?
I mean, you can't let it enter into your mind. I mean, it'll never happen if you sit there and you say like, this has got to happen, this has got to happen. You just got to let it come to you. I like I said, as a little kid, I just wanted to be a motorcycle rider. I didn't care about how good I was. I just wanted to race motorcycles. So as things developed, my attitude changed, and winning was all I wanted. So it never was like a set in stone like this. It had to be this way. It's just over time, things develop, and you mature and you learn different things. So it's an honor. I'm super happy. I didn't know Scott was coming out today. It's really awesome to see him, and I really appreciate him coming out.
Well, there you go, folks. A passion for the sport, a passion for GNCC racing. And today, Caleb Russell takes over the all-time GNCC wins record. 47 times he's put his machine in the center of the GNCC podium, and today makes that him all alone, all atop the win records board. Back to you, Rodney.
All right, thanks a lot, Johnny. Wow. I mean, some heavy statements made during that interview. And Steve Hatch, I got to tell you, man, a true champion. I mean, it spoke the words of a true champion right there. And my favorite quote from him, I think, will always be, "I just wanted to ride my motorcycle."
Yeah, I agree. I think both of us were looking at each other going, man, you know what? That's what it's really all about. And, as great as Caleb is, and a great guy, and his dad was great, and I had the fortunate ability to ride with or work with him when he was turned up to XC2 Pro and win his first championship, and that unbelievable to have that type of humbleness and just want to ride your dirt bike.
Well, I tell you, he's riding his dirt bike really, really well. Another guy that did a great job today, Thad Duvall, second place. Let's head down to Johnny Gallagher.
All right, folks, we're here with Thad Duvall, today's second-place finisher. After sitting out the last 3 rounds to heal up that wrist that he injured over in France, he comes back out today. He said he was coming back with a vengeance, and he wasn't coming back just to ride. He was coming back to race. He was coming back to win. Very nearly got the job done today. Thad, you're going to be able to tell us about it better in your words than I can. How'd it go for you?
It went good. Just, yeah, I'm a little disappointed in second. I felt like I had the win in me, but just, I don't know. It took me a couple laps to get going. I was super timid with my wrist the first couple laps, and I haven't rode that pace for a couple months now, so it took me a while to get going. And once I got going, we kind of stayed even, and then, you know, one lap I'd catch up, and then one lap we'd pull out, and just, you know, I got by Ricky, and just, I was like, man, I just need to beat Ricky to get second overall for the year. And I was like, oh, what fun would that be? Just, so I kept my head down, I kept charging as hard as I could, and just, you know, after a while, the wrist got better, I think, as the race went on, and I got more, like, confident in it for sure. But yeah, I guess second's good. I don't know, just a little disappointed in myself.
Well, obviously, just a few short months ago, you were very much in this championship hunt, so that had to hurt, you know, knowing that you sat out those races to let the wrist heal, to do the right thing for what's best for your career. Was there any point at that time sitting home thinking about, you know, this racing going on without you being a part of it? Was there any point you thought maybe you wouldn't be back, or you wouldn't be back where you were? Did you know in your heart all along that as soon as you came back to the track? Because I got to be honest with you, so many people so impressed with what you did today. I mean, coming right back off injury and literally back where you guys left off, fighting toe-to-toe for 180 minutes. Was there ever any doubt in your mind, or did you always know you could do it?
I don't know. Like, when it first happened, I kind of threw myself a pity party for like 2 weeks and just laid around, and I don't know. Then it just kind of, I woke up one day and was like, hey, I still got the National Enduro Championship I'm fighting for, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, I had to get going. I just pushed myself, and I've still been working as hard as I had been, and it just, 2 weeks there, it was kind of like, man, it's like, this really sucks, but, that's, you just kind of got to get through it and go from there. I had a good support. My family, they were there 110% saying I could still win, and, they were still pushing me to get up and work hard. So, without them, I feel like I kind of be still sitting around, but, it's just one of those things where I want to become a champion one day, and champions don't lay around.
Absolutely, and with all that time off and everything that you had going through your mind, you mentioned you still have some other championships on the board this year, but today's got to have you thinking towards next year, and I would imagine you're probably only coming to round one with one thing in mind. What would that be?
Just to win. We're already going to test here in a couple weeks, so for next year, and I got a little bit of a jump start this year. I never really started testing until I was racing, so it was a new year with the team, and it's cool to come on a factory team and back up why I got the factory ride. So it's cool, and it's been an unbelievable year. I wish I would have been able to fight for the championship all the way down here, but in the end, I'm still happy with second overall for the year.
All right, folks, Thad Duvall, today's second-place overall finisher at the Ironman GNCC. He's back from injury, and he's right back where he left off, battling for wins and looking towards 2018 to potentially battle for that GNCC XC1 championship. And that's back to you, Rodney.
Thank you, Johnny. Wow, man, I tell you, that right there says a lot about Thad Duvall, man, and the hunger. And there I go, exactly what I stated there. The stage is actually being set right here today for 2018. I mean, with that, the battle obviously is still going to loom between Caleb Russell and Thad Duvall, but still the unknown factor there is Pascal. We're still asking that question as we take a look at the overall results. Taking a look at this, it is Caleb Russell, Thad Duvall, Ricky Russell, Grant Baylor, and of course with Ricky Russell in third. Let's head on down to Johnny Gallagher standing by with Ricky in third place today.
All right, folks, we're here with Ricky Russell, today's third-place overall finisher. Ricky, always off to a fast start. You got that whole shot again today. This NFAB Ampro Yamaha out like a bolt of lightning, grabbed the lead, and you were able to lead Caleb Russell around for quite some time. It looked like you really stepped up the pace today. You were able to battle with those guys throughout most of this race, ultimately coming home on the podium. Tell us a little bit about the day for you.
Yeah, no, this bike fires up awesome. I've had a few hole shots this year and got another one, but Caleb got by in the second corner, and then I was just like, okay, I need to follow him. He's obviously the champ for a reason. So we kind of set a good pace right off the bat and got away from the field a little bit. And then Caleb made a mistake, went down. I got by him. Just kind of was trying to ride consistent, not too over my head, and stay smooth off the ground, and that's what we were able to do. And then Caleb got back around me, and I was just following him, and felt good. I felt like I had the speed to be right there with him, so I was hoping it would come down to the wire. But then I would think about 2 to go, or on the third to go, I had pretty bad lap, had 2 pretty big crashes into some trees and some lappers messing me up a little bit, but Thad was able to get by right there, and then just kind of lost them and couldn't pick that gap back up. So unfortunately they got away, but I was able to get third, and that puts me third for the overall series, which I'm happy. So I would have liked to get Thad to get that second place overall, but oh well, it's a building step for sure.
So we were just talking here a moment ago, that battle between you and Thad was actually for the number 2 plate for the year. You know, you were giving it everything you had. Thad was able to edge you out there. But still, you know, earlier in the year, you were kind of struggling to find your groove. And, you know, Ricky, I'm going to go ahead and put things in perspective here. 3 years ago now, you drove from Washington in your van with a dirt bike and a dream. No ride, no funding, no anything. And here you sit, battling for wins in GNCCs, getting your first win this season, and end up third for the year. Does that put things in perspective at all for you?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's a dream come true. But the Yamaha team has been helping me build my program all the last few years. Last year, I had help from a local up here in Indiana, and they were a huge help. And it's just been building steps. And I mean, it's a learning experience. It's 3 hours is no joke, and you got to be smooth. It's really easy to go out there and override and really land on your head the first 2 laps and just set you back. And I've done that throughout a few years. So we've had our ups and downs, and this year, yeah, get that win off my belt and just be up here consistently on the podium. It's been a dream come true, so I'm happy.
Well, there you have it, folks. A West Coast kid with a dream loads up his van, drives all the way out to the East Coast to race against the best off-road riders in the world in GNCC racing. Just 3 short years later, here he stands wrapping up the number 3 plate for the year on his NFAB AmPro Yamaha, and he's out here getting the job done with a 3rd place overall today, battling with the best riders in the world. Congratulations, Ricky.
Thank you.
Back to you, Rodney.
That's what GNCC racing is all about, and I hope that Jason Wygan is watching right now, brother, because, man, I know to witness these types of things, and I know he's an avid fan just like myself, as big a fan of GNCC racing as I am, and to witness what we've seen here today, the coming of age and a new era, basically, of Caleb Russell establishing himself. You know, what we saw out of Thad Duvall today, what we've seen out of Ricky Russell this season, what we're witnessing out of Pascali there, the Austrian rider coming over from the WEC, and all of a sudden, you know, wow, the excitement, you know, I was thinking, okay, you know, the end of the year, it's going to be kind of a letdown and a bummer, but all of a sudden, I'm excited for what the offseason holds, because there is so much to speculate upon. And you know me, anybody that knows me, I love to speculate. And the great thing about it is I speculate within the realm of possibility, and sometimes those things come to pass. Oftentimes those things come to pass. So I think Pascal, if he's with us next season, it's going to be pretty good. The great thing about it is he's here with us today, and he's awesome. And let's head on down now to Johnny Gallagher, who's standing by with our XC2 winner.
All right, folks, we're here with today's XC2 Pro Lights winner, all the way from Austria, Pascal Rauchenecker. Actually, I'm going to let him say it. How do we say your last name properly?
Rauchenecker.
Rauchenecker. So all the GNCC racing fans at home need to practice that, because we're hoping this guy is going to become a regular on the GNCC Tour. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts on your first GNCC racing event, and also obviously getting the win.
Yeah, it was just awesome. The track was really nice. I enjoyed a lot the race, and yeah, I could get a good start, and then pushed in the beginning, and yeah, could find a good rhythm, and then with the win, I'm very happy.
So with this format being so very different from what you do over in Europe, the World Enduros, was it hard for you to manage your speed and your energy level over the 3 hours, or did it just kind of come naturally?
Yeah, for sure. I did a few 3-hour races at home for practice, and to get a rhythm and yeah, everything done. But yeah, I didn't expect to win straight my first GNCC race, so I'm really pumped about that.
Well, we're pumped to have you here and looking forward to hopefully seeing more of you here in the upcoming seasons. So we'll look ahead to that. But today's XC2 overall, or XC2 Pro Lights winner, Pascal, you say the last name for me.
Rauchenecker.
Rauchenecker. There we go, folks. And that's back to you, Rodney, one more time.
Rauchenecker. I might be able to say that. My whole old hillbilly ways might be able to still say that. Rauchenecker.
Ah, man, you got it.
Well,
I'm not even. I'd just say
I'm going
Pascal R with an R.
Yeah, exactly.
Just make it short.
It sounds like a foreign beer. It kind of makes me want to go to the bar.
Yeah, it's after the race. I think anything right now makes you want to go that way, Wheels. I know you, man. The race is over. Let's head to the celebration times.
But hot coffee.
Well, we obviously have the FMF XC3, which we didn't do a lot of talking about today, guys. And Jack Edmondson actually did it again. From what I heard, from what I recall, I think it was a 7-minute lead over second place last time we caught up with him. So let's head on down to Johnny Gallagher, who's standing by with our FMF XC3 Pro-Am class winner.
All right, folks, we're here with Jack Edmondson, today's XC3, FMF XC3 125 class. Great day for you. You got out front early, and you made it look fairly easy today. Why don't you tell us in your own words exactly how it went for you?
Yeah, I got out front. I think I grabbed the whole shot. Maybe I had like a 30-second lead on the first lap and just kept building on it. I don't know what it got up to in the end, but no, I just felt really good the whole race. Didn't make any mistakes, and for a long time I've been struggling with mistakes, so to finish on this kind of race, it's good. And yeah, I've had a lot of fun out there.
So this is the first GNCC season for you. This makes win number 6 on the season. Obviously, I know you had some big goals earlier in the season. Unfortunately, an injury took you out there for just a few rounds mid-season, which stifled your chances at a championship. But all in all, what are your thoughts on your first season of GNCC racing?
Yeah, I can't complain really. Every race I've been to, I've had a lot of fun. The people, it's amazing how many people are out here today. It's crazy, and yeah, I've just enjoyed it a lot. You know, learned a lot, and definitely want to come back for sure in the future.
And I'm sure you got a lot of people you want to thank for helping get you to this here win today, and also this whole season.
Yeah, big shout out to the Coastal Racing team. Behind me all the way, really helped a lot. Husqvarna, Maxxis Tires, FMF, Seat Concepts, Hinson. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I appreciate all your help.
All right, there you have it, folks. Today's XC3 FMF XC3 class winner, Jack Edmondson. Back to you one more time, Rodney.
All right, thanks a lot, Johnny Gallagher, and Jack Edmondson, the son of Paul Edmondson, whom Steve Hatch says, I raced with his dad. He was on my team, and I tell you, man, it's good to see the legacies making their way over. And, Steve, I'm sure that was kind of special for you to be able to see that too, huh?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, it makes me feel very old because Jack was like 2 years old when we were racing together, but part of the real world. But just mentioning that Paul, his dad, rode very lightly on the rough GNCC tracks. Jack rides the same damn way. I mean, it's unbelievable to watch. It's like their bikes bunny hopping over all the rough stuff, and we were just knuckle sandwiching over the rough stuff.
Well, Steve Hatch, thank you for your time here in the booth this year and today in the last couple of races. Really appreciated working with you. Hopefully, we'll see more of you in the future as well.
Sounds great. I appreciate it, Rodney. Thanks, GNCC.
Wheels, thanks for stopping by, man. Really appreciate you being a part of GNCC social media and finally getting to be out here and see one for yourself, man.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to coming to more.
All righty, and of course, I want to say thanks to Johnny Gallagher for all his hard work this season and today, as well as Mikey Waynes from right here in Crawfordsville, Indiana. It's going to wrap things up for 2017, my friends, and wow, it's going to seem like forever till we get back to meet again next spring, but it will happen. And of course, until then, I just want to say God bless everybody, and we'll see you next spring. Alrighty, and of course, I want to say thanks to Johnny Gallagher for all his hard work this season and today, as well as Mikey Waynes from right here in Crawfordsville, Indiana. It's going to wrap things up for 2017, my friends, and wow, it's going to seem like forever till we get back to meet again next spring, but it will happen. And of course, until then, I just want to say God bless everybody, and we'll see you next spring.